The Barstar Podcast is a show full of stories, opinions, and sarcasm. Hosted by a working musician based in Louisville, Kentucky. Wait a second. This guy knows he's a drummer, right? Not an actual musician? Why would anybody want to... Never mind.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Barstar Podcast. I am your host, a throat frog having Stephen O'Reilly. I apparently swallowed my cat and wasn't looking when I did it. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody had a good week. And as always, I hope you guys went out and did some shit. Please make sure you check out my sponsor, Prophecy Inc., located in the beautiful Highlands in Louisville, Kentucky. Go in the shop, mention the Barstar Podcast. You will get 10% off your tattoo by any artist in the shop, not just Travis. You need to go see Travis, but whatever. I am not flying solo today. I am a man who has gone back on his word, which was actually really just a way to fuck with the guy that's in here hanging with me. I told you that I would have your wife on before you, which was a total bullshit lie. I love you, Rudy. But I am hanging out with the phenomenal guitar player and one hell of a singer, and I didn't realize you were that damn good till I saw you about 8 or 9 months ago. I was like, fuck, that dude can sing. Mr. Tony Clark. What is up, sir?
Oh, man, same old. Living a dream.
Oh, you quoting Ryan now? Living a dream?
Is that what he says?
He used to say it all the time.
See, I never listen to Ryan, so I have no idea what he says.
Hashtag RMT.
That's right.
He used to throw Todd under the bus every episode. Now I'm throwing Ryan under the bus every episode.
Yes.
It's just fun. What's going on, man? How's things? How's life?
Things are great. Busy. I would say busier than I want to be, but it's not true. I'd like to be busier, but I can't. And I don't think there's enough hours in the day.
I was getting ready to say there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
Where you can do shit.
Things will start getting in the way of other things, like music will start getting in the way of my day job, which, and then it's getting in the way of life. And then Rudy has to be happy. Aiden has to be happy. If they're not happy, I'm not happy. And
yeah, because they'll both kick your ass.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
Especially Rudy.
Get in line. Yeah.
She'll beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. She'll kick my ass, and then Aiden will kick my ass, and then she'll be in line with a disguise and kick my ass again. She ain't messing around.
So you're getting the double ass kick.
Yes.
So this episode is going to be a little more interview-esque, even though I know that you're a fan of the show. Thank you very much.
I
am. But this one's going to be a little more interview-esque because in the grand scheme of things, you and I really don't know each other that well. We just really met about a year ago, right?
Yes, probably.
Maybe a little. I mean, we've known of each other, and we've dealt with each other in passing and all that, but we've never hung out.
Nope. And
we've never really met till about a year ago, I want to say.
Yeah, it's probably right. I think so.
So what's your middle name? No, I'm just kidding.
Stephen. No.
So, my name is Paulie. So when did you start playing?
Oh, my goodness.
How long have you been playing? I don't really care. I'm just kidding. No, I'm lying.
I got a guitar when I was real young, and I really didn't start playing it until I was probably in the 5th grade, so probably 10 years old.
Gotcha.
And that's when I started taking lessons. So thanks to my 5th grade teacher.
Now I'm jumping around because of a conversation you and I had at Wix one night. We were sitting out front after a gig. Mm-hmm. I filled in for Ryan, and we sat out there till probably 3 a.m. shooting the shit. Mm-hmm. And you were telling me your dad was a bass player or a guitar player?
Bass player.
Bass player.
Yep.
Okay. That's shitty memory.
No. You said bass player, so you remember.
I thought I remembered. I had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
But he played forever, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He quit, but he quit when I was really young.
Gotcha.
But he played for many, many years. He tells a lot of stories about hauling a big K upright around. And my mom would make fun of him because, here he is broke. They're broke ass all the time. And he would, he'd have this bass across the seats of the car. So
right.
And I'm ignorant about upright bass, but the little stand that it sits on would be in the rear, and of course, back then in bigger cars, and the neck would be resting on the seat, and he would run out of gas, because it would be Friday, and he'd, no gas, about 6 blocks from the house, and he'd say, I'd drag that big son of a bitch 6 blocks. And then I'd walk in the door, and she'd go, what, nothing? You didn't bring any food? Woman, do you see what I just dragged? 6 blocks? She goes, that ain't my fault. That's your dumb ass, And he wasn't getting paid till Saturday, But when he got paid, he'd fill the tank up, or somebody come help him out or whatever. And he said this was a never-ending cycle of being broke and playing music and, trying to work.
Musicians have been broke forever.
Yes. And that's why he always said, son, don't quit your day job. And I used to think that was an insult because he thought I was a terrible player. But really, it was because he didn't want me to starve.
He wanted you to have gas in your car.
That's right.
Okay, so anyway, you started playing when you were 10.
I started taking lessons.
Wait. Total squirrel moment. Are you from here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, how it worked out was when I was in the 5th grade, I had chicken pox, and it was
that explains a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's one leg's longer than the. I don't think chicken pox does that. But anyway,
so says you.
Yeah, as far as I know. So it was over Christmas break or whatever, and or over Christmas season, we were supposed to be doing a Christmas play. I missed a bunch of it because I was out sick or whatever.
Right.
And my dad had somebody in the family or somebody had this little organ, and on the thing there was little buttons on the left that played chords, and the notes on the right that you could play individual notes with. And they had 2 of them, and we donated one to the church or the school I went to, and we had another one at home. And so I knew we were learning music stuff in the class. And the 5th grade teacher, Miss Zavala, was a huge musician. She played every instrument you can imagine.
You remember your 5th grade teacher's name?
Yeah, because of this. I remember some of them, not all of them, but Miss Zavala in particular.
I didn't even remember 5 days ago.
No, it's one of those
anyway,
things.
Carry on.
So she
You're
played
a better human than me.
Well, she played guitar and accordion and piano and all this. Well, anyway. So
actually, I'd probably remember her name too because she sounds like
she was interesting. So I over the time off, while I was sick or whatever, I knew they were learning Silent Night. She said we were going to do. So I was like, well, I need to learn it. So I'm at home and I learned the whole song. I'm playing the chords on the left, and my sister's helped me a little bit. She's 10 years older than me, and she was like, yeah, it goes like this. And so I learned the whole song, and I go back to school, and it's music class, and she goes, okay, we've been learning Silent Night. I know, Tony, you've been out. Do you know any of it? And I said, I think I know a little bit. And she goes, well, why don't you play it? And I get up on the little organ thing, and I play the whole song. And I turn around, and everybody's just staring at me, and I'm like, oh, that must have been really bad.
That must have sucked.
And she was like, she tells one of the kids, why don't you play? Why don't you show Tony what we learned? And it was, that was it.
And you played the whole
thing. And I played the whole thing, chords and all, And she goes, we haven't gotten to the left hand yet. So at the parent-teacher conference, she was like, he needs to play music. And she goes, there's two reasons why I say that. The first reason is he seems to be musically inclined. And number 2, music's the only class that we have that he doesn't talk through and disturb people. He pays attention. Everything else, he could give 2 shits.
Wait, you talk?
Yeah, a little bit.
Fuck out of here with
just
that noise.
Yeah, I
fuck out of here.
People don't know anything like that about me that have never met me. They're like, he's so quiet.
They're about to find out. It's going to be the longest episode ever.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So yeah, she suggested I take music lessons, and they asked me what I wanted to play, and I said guitar. And I had a Sears and Roebuck acoustic with Western motif on it. It turned out to be a huge piece of shit, but I still have it.
You still have it?
Still have it.
Get the fuck out of here. Seriously?
Yes, and there's stuff broken on it, and I've put nylon strings on it and figured out how to keep it together, and I still have it. In the blue case. You remember those little things that you used to, like, they were, like, made of vinyl, and you could click out your name or something? Or
yeah.
I don't even know what it's called, but I
put the vinyl punch sticker things, yeah.
And, Tony J. Clark stuck. It's still on the case. It's stayed there all these years. I don't know how.
Are you serious?
Seriously, I still have it.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
I don't have any of my first gear. None of it.
I never play. I have my first guitar amp. Yeah, I still have that.
Remember earlier when I was being a smartass and said you were a better human than me? Now I mean it. You're a better fucking human being than I am. I don't have any. I have nothing that I started with, and I got rid of some of it through necessity. You know the majority of my story. I'm not going to rehash it here. Some of it I didn't have a choice. Some of it was stolen. Some of it I lost over the years. I have nothing that I started with, and I don't really. It doesn't bother me, but every once in a while, like hearing your story, I'm like, man. I'd really like to have that first snare drum I ever had.
Well, here's the thing.
Or the first rig I ever had.
Well, yeah. I mean, this amp is not an amp that anybody would want. The guitar is not a guitar anybody would want. It's sentimental to me, obviously. Right. But, I mean, I had a 1965 Fender Mustang that I hacked up with a screwdriver to put a set of humbuckers in. I had an original TS9 Tube Screamer that is, one of those effects pedals that are, I don't know if they're still sought after, but I sold it for $30, and I probably could have sold it for $300 years later. There's a lot of nonsense like that I've lost and gotten rid of and traded and everything.
Well, I think we all have over the years, and then as we get older and the more we go down this music path, we go, fuck, I should have never got rid of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of gear that I'm probably like, ooh, man.
Yeah. Oh, I have shit tons of it. The only thing I have left as far as that's sentimental is and I know, well, I shouldn't say I know. I'm pretty sure you've never seen it in person. My Perpinkle kit.
I haven't.
I've seen pictures of.
Yep.
I've had that rig for 22 years. We'll call it 22 because everybody knows my memory sucks. I've had that rig for 22 years. It used to be blue. You know that video I have on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's that kit.
Oh, really?
I just had it painted Perpinkle.
Okay.
I call it Perpinkle because I can't decide if it's fuchsia or pink.
I got you.
Or purplish. Some people are like, this thing's purple. No, motherfucker, that's a shade of pink. Mm-hmm. So we'll call it fuchsia, but Perpinkle's funnier. But yeah, I've had that rig for 21, 22 years. I recorded the Heaven Hill record with that rig. I toured with that rig. I've had that rig for a long time. And that's the only, quote, sentimental thing I have. And I haven't played it in probably 5 years. I doubt I'll ever play it again. I can't get parts for it anymore.
What kind is it?
It's a Mapex Mars Pro series.
Okay. All right, yeah.
They made those in the 90s, and it was kind of funny because they came out with that series to be the mid-class, just above affordable, but not super expensive. And what they did was they put a ply of walnut in the middle. And that walnut, they didn't realize, makes those drums resonate for days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they sound fucking amazing. But it was a mid-level kit. So nobody really wanted them, so they didn't make them that long.
What was the Orion?
The Orion came out in the early to mid-2000s, if I remember correctly. And that was their top of the line for a while.
So, you didn't know I knew anything about Mapex. But, yeah. I don't have a Mapex kit.
You don't shock me. Nothing that comes out of that hole in your face shocks me anymore.
I read a lot of... People read books and I read, tech shit.
Oh, yeah. You're total tech.
How does this work? My brother used to take shit apart to find out how it worked. And then couldn't get it back together. And called me up. And I was like, well, shit.
Hang on, I'll figure it out. Okay, so anyway, I derailed you. So you still have all your first gear.
Well, just that acoustic and that amp.
That's all your first gear?
Well, no, I mean, some of the guitars and stuff I don't have.
Are you arguing with me on my show?
What's that?
Are you arguing with me on my show?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
But I don't...
So that's all I kept was those.
I still can't believe you have that. That's awesome.
Yeah, mostly because nobody would ever want it. You couldn't sell it. You'd have to throw it away. We went to my wife's aunt's house after she passed away, and we were digging around and we found an old acoustic in there that belonged to her.
Oh, really?
And it's an unplayable piece of garbage. Unfortunately, she'll tell you. I mean, it's sitting in the closet right now. It's at the. She wants to take it now. I'm waiting for her to do it. I mean, at some point she'll find the time, but all that work becoming a doctor is it takes up your time. But she was gonna.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah, yeah, she's pretty smart.
Yeah. So
she was gonna take all the strings off of it and paint it and do a whole bunch of stuff and turn it into somewhat of a tip jar and put it out in front, and that was something I was going to take to acoustic shows. Me and Jessica at least would have that in front, and
right.
and at one point, Hoback, when I was playing with him, was like, hey, you got to get her on this. This is going to be awesome. That's the most incredible thing I've ever heard of. Put LED lights and all this other stuff. He was all about it, man. He was like, please, let's do this. But
he's all about all kinds of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Hobie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, playing with him was fun.
I can imagine. Well, we'll get to that part. So, how long, and I've asked everybody this question, how long before, or how long after you had been playing did it kind of click and you went, I'm really fucking good at this?
Oh, I still don't think I am. I really don't.
Okay, I'll ask you the question again.
Well, I mean, to answer it is how soon I liked it and how soon I thought I have to do this.
All right, fine.
That was immediately.
Was it?
It was. I mean, I'm sitting there with this stupid acoustic guitar and I'm not playing a thing, and I'm watching. My dad was really into country music at the time, so we're talking old classic country. He was into stuff that a lot of people may not have heard of, like Hank Thompson and the Bob Wills and the Texas swing stuff, the
Gotcha.
two fiddle steel guitar, that kind of stuff, which really was jazz.
A lot of that shit was jazz.
You go back and
It was
listen to it, and it's
essentially
jazz. And I'm trying to learn how to play it. There was a song by Eddie Arnold called Anytime. It's the only song my dad knew on the guitar. And he used to take the guitar and play it. And it was chords and chord shapes that I had never seen. And I'm like, what is that? And he couldn't tell me. He never knew. He played by ear.
Didn't know anything.
And he was around so many musicians that knew stuff. And he knew a little bit about the Nashville numbering system. And he'd talk about 145 and this and that and the other, and 1625 or whatever. But he never knew how to read. He didn't know a lot about theory, but he could play these crazy chords, these jazz chords. And I'm like, what is it? I don't know, but here it is.
And he would just show it to you.
Yeah.
Like on the fretboard and shit.
And I had taken lessons from a guy named Al Peters at the Conservatory of Music in Westland Mall, where Target used to be. It's all closed now. It's all just nothing now. I think there's an Ollie's there or something, or a shoe carnival. I don't know. But it used to be a mall.
Where are you talking about?
It was out in PRP, out in my end of town. So I go there, and my fifth grade teacher knew this guy and said he's really good, and he was, and he taught me the basic, E, F, G. This is the E string, B string, all that, and so it was basic, start from the scratch.
Right.
I know nothing, and I got the Mel Bay grade 1 book, and then I'm learning how to read music and
how much fucking money is that dude made?
Oh God, yeah. Every book. I think I went through grade 6 before I'm finally like, do I know enough now to play guitar? I don't really know. You can only
grade
play
6 and you went, fuck Mel Bay.
You can only play the same song over Camptown Races and every. All right, well now I can embellish Camptown Races and start throwing sixths in and shit and sevenths, and here's a major seventh for you in Camptown fucking Races. How's that?
Check that, Mel Bay.
But yeah, how to hold the plectrum was like 2 pages. I'm like, what the fuck's a plectrum? Oh, it's a pick. I got you. And you hold it like this, and I probably still hold it like the book says. I know a lot of people. Eddie Van Halen didn't. And, I'm trying to learn the solo for Jump, and I'm thinking, maybe I'm holding the fucking pick wrong. It has nothing to do with that at all, trust me. So yeah, this guy taught me all that stuff. And then when I got into high school, he went through a divorce and moved around. And actually, my mom would drive me to his house to take lessons.
Gotcha.
2 different houses. And then she's like, I'm tired of following these guys around. Let's find somebody else. And at that point, I'm just like, well, I'm in high school now. I need to focus on that. So I'll just play on my own.
Right.
And I ran into a guy my junior year. I realized he played guitar. We had talked a little bit, but I went over to his house. So when you're old enough to go places on your own and you drive a car or whatever, or if it's not too far for a bike ride, I went over to his house. And his name was Stuart Vessels. And he still plays. And he used to be with V-Groove.
Gotcha.
And he smoked the living daylights out of me, and I'm like, oh shit, I got a lot to learn. I'm so far. So
again, second time. Fuck you, Mel Bay.
Yes, thanks, Mel, you asshole. How much money did I pay you for nothing? For nothing,
Thanks, dude.
So, and I don't know who he took lessons with. Probably somebody at a real music store, but because the Conservatory of Music, there were pianos everywhere.
It was the Conservatory.
Yes, there were no guitars. It's an uncivilized instrument, So I got a story about that too. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of learned on my own until college, and then again, Stuart was like, "Hey man, I met this guy, Rob Johnson. He's a guitar player over at Far Out Music. He teaches. You ought to go talk to him."
Right.
And I went in there on a Saturday, and there's this dude with long hair sitting completely cross-legged on a stool in front of I don't know what kind of amp, playing a Paisley Telecaster, beating the piss out of it, just playing shit that I had never seen anybody play before in real life.
Right.
And I'm like, this guy. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for Rob Johnson. You found him. And I was like, hey, somebody told me I should come in and get lessons. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm all booked up. I was like, oh, okay. So I go over and I pick a guitar off the wall and I start picking around. It's, Far Out Music. And I'm picking around the guitar. And a few minutes later, he comes over and he says, what do you want to learn? I said, I want theory. I want to learn theory. He goes, how's Saturday at 2? I said, that works. He goes, all right, I'll see you next Saturday. And that was my foray into learning music theory, because he was like, I got these kids coming with cassette tapes, and they're like, can you teach me how to play Metallica's One?
I know.
And it was
I still
a lot
teach.
of that.
I still get that shit. And it's funny because I get some parents and some kids get a little mad at me. My first lesson, first thing out of my mouth, I will not teach you songs. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't teach you anything.
No. Teach you how to teach yourself songs.
Yeah. I give you the tools. You can figure them out on your own. But teaching you songs does nothing. So I as kind of half-assed shitty as it was, I'm all booked up. I get exactly where he's coming from. Great. Another kid that wants to learn fucking Metallica.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'm not interested.
Oh, I was in college. I'm sure he's like some college dude,
Right.
wanting to waste my time on whatever day of the week it is, So,
who's the hot band this month? Oh, I'm going to be teaching a lot of Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Well, yeah. I don't even know who was good back then.
What time period would this have been?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably, if I'm thinking correctly, it would have been in the late 80s.
Late 80s.
Yeah.
So it would have been Metallica.
Yeah, I guess it was. Really, technically, I guess. Well, that's why I said one, because I do remember him saying that. People would come in and, with the cassette, yeah. Down, that first opening lick, how's he do that? So
with a pick and a chord progression.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess.
And the first lesson was play me a C major scale. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And he plays it. And I'm like, oh, I know how to do that. So 6 months of, okay, let me figure out what you know.
Right.
Because you know a lot of stuff that you have no idea what you know.
Yeah.
And that was a whole lot of retraining, relearning,
I had a kid like that. He, teenager, he came to me and he knew a lot of shit, but he didn't know that he knew a lot of shit. And that on the teacher side of it, that was cool. It's like, you know how to do that. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Play this. Oh, shit, I do know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just have to add the name to it in your head.
Yeah. And he was giving me people to listen to.
Yeah.
To pick things up from. And I remember going on a session a few years later with a guy. I don't even know how he probably hooked it up for me. But this guy needed a guitar player to come in and play a solo or play a song or whatever.
Right.
It was at a place called Reel to Reel Studios, which, all analog back in the day. And I went in and recorded with, I don't even know who the guy was. I just laid the track down, and when I was done, I think it took me like 8 tries to get it. And at one point, I think his name is Jeff. If I'm wrong, if anybody knows anything about Reel to Reel, and I got the wrong name, okay. But at one point, he was like, once you go outside, think about it. You're thinking too much. You got to get out of your own head. Go outside for a few minutes, and then come back in and run a couple of practice tries, and then we'll record it. And I came back in, and I nailed it on the practice try. And I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to try it. And he goes, we're done. You got it. I was recording. I just wasn't going to tell you. That's how he got me to record it. I was too nervous. And when I got finished, the guy says, you must be a huge Steve Howe fan. Who? He said, Steve Howe from Yes? Oh, yeah, I've heard of Yes. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you're a big Steve Howe fan. And all the double stops and stuff you were doing. I'm like, no, not. So I go back to Rob. Hey, are you a Steve Howe fan? Oh, yeah.
So you were getting it from Rob.
Yeah, I'm getting it secondhand. So I'm like, well, what else do you like? Because apparently I do too.
Whatever you like, I'm into.
Yep, totally. So yeah.
Well, no, that's pretty cool. When was your first gig?
So the first time I ever got paid to play music?
No.
The first gig.
Different question.
Okay. Well, I mean, technically it would be in church. I mean, I did go to a Catholic elementary school and high school, and it was actually a solo. I got to sing and play guitar on some song, and I don't even remember the name of it. Great Things Happen. It just came to me, and I had to play the acoustic guitar and sing.
You're a fucking weirdo.
I can't help it. I just remember being in church thinking, I
love
gotta sing.
you, but you're a fucking weirdo.
There was a show called the New Zoo Review. If anybody out there that's old like me, I'm 51, so. It was this Henrietta Hippo and J. Fred Frog and some crazy shit, Acid Trip City in the show. 2 regular humans and a bunch of weirdos in these big costume looking things, and they were freaky as hell. And I remember at the end of the song, my mom goes, that sounded like New Zoo Review. And I'm thinking, well, okay.
I have a theory about children's television shows. I think every human being that is an adult that ever created a children's television show did a lot of fucking drugs.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Maybe. Well, Fred Rogers, maybe not, but probably should have with that, hey, let's get on the trolley. Ding, ding. And let's go to make-believe land. If he wasn't doing drugs, he was missing an opportunity.
Somebody was doing some drugs.
Maybe he was
back
some
in the day.
scotch after work. I don't know.
Well, true. That's very funny. Anyway, get back to you. Sorry.
So yeah, that was probably technically, it was the first time I performed in front of...
How old were you?
Maybe 13, 14 at the oldest, maybe.
That's
Something
cool.
like that.
You started that young. That's awesome. I didn't even start playing until I was 13. I started late. I wish I'd have started earlier, but...
Well, they asked me if I would... There was a guy named Danny Smallwood who went to my church, who I thought was cool because he drove a Gran Torino. Yes. Red with the white stripe down. I mean, it was a muscle car when you pull in the driveway.
Red with the white stripe? Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It was the Starsky and Hutch car, and it was badass, man.
You younger fuckers can look that up.
Yeah, y'all look that up. Look up 351 Windsor or Cleveland, one of the two. I don't know which. I think Cleveland was the big block. Again, more useless knowledge than I shouldn't have.
I think the Cleveland was a big block.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know what this one had in it, but it would rattle your teeth when you got in it. And
Cam much?
So and he played guitar and sang, and his mom was the organ player at the church. She actually performed at Rudy and our wedding.
Really?
Yeah, she was still at the church. She was cool. So anyway, Danny was teaching me a lot of church songs, because on certain masses where people didn't care if there was some people frowned on acoustic guitar in church. They were like, it does not belong in church. It should be a cappella or organ. Or if you have a string section. I was like, listen, I'm at St. Timothy's, and we're the poorest Catholic church in the city of Louisville. I mean, dirt poor Catholic church. You're lucky to have anything. Yeah, right. Right. Well, it's the people that went there were poor.
Throwing that out there.
It's a
little weird.
Where you go to, well, it's not Catholic, but you go to some of the Catholic churches, and it's like, ooh, this is what opulence looks like, and you go to St. Timothy's, it's like, we don't have air conditioning. Can we hurry up with the sermon? It's hot in here, So
up, down. Come
on,
there's a lot, dude.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of calisthenics in Catholicism. Apparently, they don't want you falling asleep.
Calisthenics and Catholic guilt.
Get on your knees. Can't. I want to sit down. Get on your, the nuns in the church would, smack your knuckles or whatever. They were mean.
Back in the day, they could be.
Yeah. Well, back in my day, my mom used to go in and tell him, if he is out of line, you beat his ass. And when he gets home, I'll beat his ass. And they're like, oh, I like this woman,
She's my hero.
Yeah. So the nuns liked her. So
you played your first, what you would consider your first time in front of people. That's the first gig when you were 13 or 14. That's fucking cool. When did you get in a, quote, band? I'm not going to say rock band because that's assuming.
Yeah. No, I was in a band when I was a sophomore in high school, and gotcha. I wasn't old enough to drive yet, and so my dad had to take me back and forth to practice. And
cussing you the whole time. I told you not to do this.
Well,
thing.
Yeah. He's like, well, he used to take, boy, I can't wait till you're driving, and then you're on your own. But what's funny is, and I don't even know how I hooked up with these guys, how I found them. I think it was a mutual friend, but somebody had a band. They had 2 guitar players, a drummer, and a singer. And they needed a bass player, and I was a guitar player. I had never taken bass lessons. I didn't know what the bass was. I knew my dad had one.
Right.
But I wanted to be in a band so bad that I was like, I'll play bass. I don't give a shit, And I tell Dad, hey man, I got this band wants me to play bass, and he's like, you know how to play bass? Yeah, I know. And he's like, yeah, you'll be fine. Get the shit, let's go. So here he is. It was his bass. So keep in mind. I still have it. It's a 1959 Fender Precision bass. So all you bass players out there, some of you who have played it know what it is. It's cool as shit. And his 1956 Fender Bassman amp, I still have it as well, which Stevie Ray Vaughan wanted at one time.
Yeah, you told me that story.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's one of those who knew he was going to jump in that helicopter and die, and I would have $1 million Stevie Ray Vaughan Marshall in my house. But hey, what are you going to do? I still have the Bassman though. I still love it. I had it redone not too long ago, and it's magic. So everybody that thinks I take a shit on tube amps, I don't. I own many of them, and I love them. I just don't gig with them.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody drink.
Windmill. We'll get to that.
All right. So I got this 59P bass. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I know it's got strings on it, and I can play it. With a pick. Yeah. Well, they were like, hey man, can you use your fingers instead? Yeah, I could try. Blisters. Many blisters later, I'm like, well, this electrical tape. Put electrical tape on your fingers. It gets rid of the blisters and helps you. So my dad was an electrician. There was all kinds of electrical tape everywhere. So I kept a roll of it in the case. And when I felt one coming on, I'd tape my fingers up and off we go. So the band was called Nothing Fancy. I'm still friends on Facebook with Daryl Vincent, who was one of the guitar players.
Nice.
He was great. I'm sure he probably still is. He's a super good guy. And the singer was a guy named Bobby Keister, who some people might remember. I think maybe Tony McElwain was in a band with him. I don't know. But
you're going way before I got here.
Yeah. So we took pictures down at the railroad tracks because hey, listen, man, this was 1983. So that was probably not cliche. It
wasn't cliche yet. It wasn't cliche. You're right. And you are correct.
He had a leather glove that we poured lighter fluid on, and we caught it on fire and took pictures. We thought we were... And, dude, I still have the picture. I think it's on Facebook.
Railroad tracks and fire.
Yes.
Please tell me there's a brick wall in there somewhere.
Probably somewhere. And the sad thing is, they all looked cool as shit. They all went to Valley High School and just were cool dudes. It looks like I was some homeless kid that wandered into the shot. I had some stupid hat on, like a fedora. See, I'm a trendsetter before trendsetting is cool, man. So yeah, I look like a fat dork. Telling you, I really did.
I love you.
And I was the bass player, so it worked out. He's
a bass player. Fucking really
bass players, they're dirty, whatever. So, but we played our first show at the Sun Valley Teen Dance at Sun Valley Park. We opened up for Caribou, who is still around. Mm-hmm. I think I'm friends with one of the Keeling brothers on Facebook. Anyway, they let us open up for him, and we didn't get paid, And one of my friends wanted to be in the band so bad, and he played no music whatsoever. So he called himself the manager, and he actually got one of his mom's clip-on earrings and put it on. I swear to God, he put it on. And told everybody he was our manager and shit. We're 15 years old, We're roaming around like we're rock stars, But what's funny is I roll into this gig with this 1959 Fender Precision bass, and all the bass players are looking at me like, "Who the fuck is this? What is this?
Right?
What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my dad's bass. Can I see it? Well, yeah. Can I play it? Yeah." So they're up there playing with it, looking at each other like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm flipping it upside down and playing Rudy Sarzo when we're playing Quiet Riot. I don't know any better, We're doing Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest and all this other, all this metal stuff,
right?
And we opened up for the Caribou and a band called Circus, and we opened up for the Flyers, which was Dennis Ledford and his wife.
Gotcha.
That's when I did that. That was it. I was like, hooked. I am somehow or another figuring out how to do that. And I'm talking to them. I'm bugging the shit out of them. I mean, I'm every guitar player. I'm like, hey, what kind of guitar is that? What kind of amp is that? What kind of strings you use? How do you learn songs?
Right.
How do you get these gigs? Who do you talk to? How much you guys get paid? All the things, those things you're not supposed to ask, but it was cool, and I'm watching them tear down at the end of the game. I'm sticking around. They're telling me, "Hey, kid, you got to leave," and I'm like, "Can I watch the band tear their gear down?" I just want to hear what they're saying at the end of the game. I want to hear them talk.
You're trying to pick anything.
I'm picking anything up I can from these guys. And Peter Gabriel, "Shock the Monkey" had come out at one point, and these guys are singing "Shock the Monkey," and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I got to go listen to that because that must be cool, So. It was that kind of thing. It was just, trying to absorb as much as I could. And
so you turned into the walking sponge?
Yes. Yeah.
And just looked for info wherever you could find it?
Of course, I was also the guy that would go up to the guitar player and say, "Hey, man, you're not playing that right. You want me to show you how to play it?" I'm 16 years old. And they're like, "The fuck out of here, kid. What's wrong with you?"
So the big mouth douchebaggery started early.
I think I was born with it. I think it's in my DNA.
And for those of you that are going, "Dude, you're such an asshole," Tony and I have talked about this before. He freely owns it.
Yes, I own it.
I have said for about a year or so now, I'm pretty good at cutting motherfuckers to ribbons with my words. You're a fucking master.
Yeah, my wife's like, "You razor tongue. Slice them to bits." I got it from my mom. My mom was really good at that.
Was she?
Yeah, she was really good at that.
I get it from my dad. He's good at it.
And I'll be honest, my dad hardly said anything. You know, he was real. My dad was one of those people that if you pissed him off, God help you. But if any other time, you know, you maybe thought he was a mute.
Right.
Because he never said a word. My mom did all the talking. All the talking. And of course, my dad would lean over and say, hey, why don't you get on the phone and call such and such and tell him, you know, and she, no problem. I'll chew his ass. You know, she relished in that, you know, that was her thing. And she would always say really awful, disparaging, negative things about people. But she did it for humor.
Right.
It was funny as hell, you know, and everybody laughed their asses off. And the more they laughed, the more she did it.
Right. And
then when she got older and she, you know, was mentally, you know, Alzheimer's and stuff, that part of her personality came out strong.
I can only imagine.
But everybody loved her. Miss Sally, oh, she's so funny. I was like, oh, okay, you know. And she'd say some really vulgar, awful things, you know. I mean, really terrible, racist, awful, vulgar things about stuff. And some nurses would be, in the hospitals, would be like, you know, trying not to be embarrassed, but you could tell, oh, this even embarrassed me. And I hear everything, you know. And we'd just be sitting there like, yeah, well, you know.
That's mom.
That's mom. That's my mama. You know?
That's my mama.
So, yeah.
So when after you started playing a few gigs and all that shit, did you ever, and this I legitimately don't know you thought I was going to do the L word, didn't you? I legitimately don't know the answer to this. Did you get into the whole original thing, or did you always just do covers?
No, I've done some original things, but I started doing covers. So I guess right out of high school, there was, again, some people, what I figured out was I used to play football, and I was really terrible at football. And I was terrible from the day I started playing to the day I quit. I did get a trophy once called for most improved player, but I think it was like, this motherfucker's been here since he's 7 years old. Let's give him a trophy, because we feel so bad for him getting the shit beat out of him every day for, you know, this many years. I went to high school thinking I want to be a high school football player. You know, I'm going to get a lot of girls doing this because girls love jocks.
I'm going to get chicks.
Yeah. And I was getting my ass kicked, and no girls. But I went to an all-boys school. So where am I going to get a girlfriend now? You know, but I thought, hey, if I play football, the cheerleaders, you know. So there was a little bit of logic to this, but
it didn't work out.
It didn't work out for me. I had to quit football because everybody was getting bigger than me, and I just was getting fatter and slower. And that's just not a good combination when you're trying to be an athlete, you know?
Jesus Christ, I love you.
But I could play guitar, you know? And I remember we did some retreat thing for the girls from Angela Morisi and the guys from Bishop David, where I went to school. It was Holy Cross when I graduated. It was the first Catholic co-ed in, I don't know if it was the state of Kentucky, but at least in Louisville. Right. And that was the year I graduated. It was a lot of girls got pregnant that year. Can you imagine? You know, 3 years of no guys and 3 years of no girls, and all of a sudden you put them together in one school, and somebody's getting pregnant.
I call that a fuck fest.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, hey, I don't want to say anything.
What are you doing later? Fucking. What'd you do yesterday? Fucked.
If there were girls that wanted to have sex with me, I would have. You know.
What are you doing tomorrow? So, fucking.
But yeah,
that's a lot of pent up hormones.
That was a whole lot, yeah. And so I understood.
I ain't mad at it.
No. But I just noticed that I played guitar, and there were like girls all around me, and I'm like, hey, wait a second. I don't have to run or nothing. I can just sit there and play guitar. And they come sit
I don't have to be
me.
physical. I could just strum this thing and people dig it.
This is great. Of course, I found out later in my first band that actually played and got paid and all that. The drummer knew me because we went to high school together, and he talked me up to these guys. Like, oh, this guy's a great guitar player. You know, he can sing, whatever. And I show up, and they're like, where's Tony? And I'm like, I am Tony. Oh, we thought you were his like roadie or something. We expected some skinny, long-haired, you know, handsome dude to show up, not his road crew. Got me. So, but you know, I got the gig, so whatever.
Oh my God, you're so cute. Just for you, pumpkin. So anyway, you did originals because you kind of veered off for a second.
I didn't originally. I started.
You started with covers. See, covers. I started with originals.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and I didn't do covers. I didn't do covers till I was in my late 20s.
I started doing covers. And the reason why is because the guys had gotten together and they had seen bands or whatever, and a couple of the guys were older, They were all friends. They all grew up in the same neighborhood. All went to the same school together.
Right.
I had gone to high school with the drummer, but the rest of them were a little bit older. But 2 years older, and then the other guitar player was probably 5 or 6 years older, something like that. And
Gotcha.
they wanted to play, cover songs. They wanted to play all that kind of stuff. And I was fine with that. I can learn songs and play, whatever.
Right.
And I had tried to get into a couple bands before, and it didn't work out for whatever. Probably because I showed up and I didn't know the songs.
Right.
And it's like one of those. Well, look, here's my friend. He plays guitar. He'll come over with me and play. And it's like, your friend sucks. Get him out of here. He doesn't know anything. So this is I'm taking this serious. I'm going to start learning these songs and really, if I want to play music. And we had it so right back then, but we thought we had it all wrong.
Right.
Our first gig was a wedding.
Get the fuck out of
Our
here.
first gig was a wedding. People had heard us. They lived across the street, and they heard us rehearsing in the garage. And they come over. Hey, my daughter's getting married. What do you guys charge for a wedding? We're like, I don't know. What do we charge for a wedding? I don't know. We'll think about it and get back to you. It's like, all right. Well, there's 5 of us. We need to rent a PA. How much is that? I don't know. We can rent one at Doo-Wop. Call Doo-Wop. How much is a PA? All right, it's this much. Okay. If we all make this much, this is how much it is. So we went back over, and I think we asked, what's your budget? And they were like, like $800. And we're like, well, you're just in luck. We can do it for $800. And we're thinking, that's $400 more than we need, So,
So you fucked that one all up.
yeah. But we got paid, so we did our first wedding, and here I am playing a wedding in the middle of the day. They're feeding us. They're giving us free booze. They all love us. We're the greatest thing.
And you're still in high school at this point.
I'm right out of high school.
Right
I'm
out
in
of high
college.
school.
It's
Okay.
like 1986, and they're like, they think we're amazing, and people are coming up to us and saying, "Hey, you got business cards?" No, but if you'll take some phone numbers. That wedding led to another wedding, which led to 2 more, which led to a few more, and then private parties.
Yep.
And then like fraternity parties where they were hiring us for fraternity parties. And
I don't know how fraternity parties up here, but when I was in Columbia, fraternity parties, stupid money.
Well, yeah, but we weren't charging stupid money because we were stupid. So, and some of these fraternities were like not like party fraternities. They were like academic fraternities. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, the nerd herd.
yes. They didn't, you don't have a house. You join this fraternity and you put it on your car, and then when you go to your interview with the guy that owns the company, I was also a Phi O Beta or whatever the fuck. I don't know. And but yeah, they were like business people,
Right?
And they probably had shit tons of money to spend, and we're charging them, like $1,000 or whatever to play this gig, thinking we're making stupid money, which technically we were.
Right.
So the trouble is, we were, number one, we were stupid. Number 2, we were young. Number 3, we were finishing gigs early. Like, we were done at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock at night, because we do a wedding at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
So what did we do? We went out to a bar, and we saw bands play at the Toy Tiger in Phoenix Hill and Butchertown Pub and all these places, and we're thinking, there's where all the cool people are. They're drinking beer on stage and smoking cigarettes and being cool, and look at all the girls. And we thought, this is what we should be doing. Because this is
Right.
what all my musician friends are doing. When I go to music stores, nobody's talking about playing weddings or private parties. They're talking about playing the bar. So we're
Right.
thinking, that's what we need to do. So back in this time, people, they had created the Murph. I don't know if you heard of Murph.
Yeah,
the music.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So back then, every club in town on a Sunday would have free shows.
Right.
And all the proceeds would go to Murph. You don't see that kind of shit anymore. But
No, and for it just dawned on me for those of you listening, especially the non-Louisville people, Murph is an organization that helps musicians when they get down on their luck.
Yes, the
Or
Musicians
if
Emergency
somebody
Relief
passes.
Fund.
Thank you, because I was getting ready. I knew you would know what it was. I forgot what it stood for.
well, I think Marvin Maxwell was one of the first people that had anything to do with it, if I'm remembering
Pretty
correctly.
cool organization. Anyway,
Yeah,
carry on.
And I knew some people that benefited from it, and
Right.
and so we were like, yeah, hey, there's Murph thing, why don't we get in on this? This will be a way for us to. I know it's exposure. You can't
put exposure in the bank.
you can't feed your kids exposure, as Ryan Murphy would say.
You can give them an exposure sandwich.
Well, yeah. Good luck, kids. But don't get too full of all that exposure, But Daddy. So
I love you, Ryan.
But we thought, hey, we'll play for free, but at least we're playing free for a good cause.
Right.
It's going to go to somebody else. It's
Right.
not going to go in some asshole's pocket. So I think our first gig like that was at Yogi's, which was off Goldsmith Lane, right across. It was right down the road from the Toy Tiger. So it was
I
everything.
bought cigarettes at the Toy Tiger once.
Well, it was everything the Toy Tiger wasn't. It was down the road. It was small. It wasn't cool. But great bands played there. And there was a band called Are You Okay? Which at the time was really popular. They were really good. And I don't really... David Hoback would know every member in the band. I don't remember.
David Hoback probably made out with every member in the band.
Probably.
He made out with me
And
last
he probably
night.
played drums with everybody in the band, too.
Probably. He made out with me last night. It was really weird.
Oh, well, yeah.
I kind of liked it, but it was really weird.
Well, yeah. Okay. It's weird that you liked it.
It's Hoback.
Okay. So they played before us, and then I don't know why they stuck us in the middle, but the band after us was the Mighty Water Kings. I don't know. You probably never heard of them either because you're not from here. The Mighty
Some
Water
names
Kings
are ringing bells, some names are not. Somebody has mentioned Are You Okay to me before, but the Mighty Water Kings I've never heard.
All right, so the Mighty Water Kings were like the ultimate
It's a kinda
blues.
cool name, though.
Oh, yeah. They played a lot of blues. Tony Bowles, who has been playing with Hank Jr. now for, I don't know if he still does, but Hank Jr. forever. Jeff McAllister was on drums, and David Hoback would tell you about Jeff McAllister. Phenomenal drummer.
I've heard of him. I don't
Jay
know if I know
Comstock
him.
played bass. Mike Murphy played saxophone. Jimmy Gardner sang. They were ridiculously talented. The
Right.
most fun band I've ever seen. And, I mean, Are You Okay blew me away. And then I was like, I can't go on after these guys. They were up there playing REM and shit and just killing it. All the stuff I'd like to play.
Don't you hate those situations? Oh, I can't fucking follow that. Damn
Yeah,
it.
this sucks. But we got up and did our thing.
Right.
And then
You always do it. You just don't want to.
You don't want to. And the other guys didn't care. They're like, we don't give a shit. I was like, I'm caring. I was like, yeah, I want to be a musician. And they were like, I just want to be here. I don't give a shit. And when this band is done, I'm done forever, which two of them did.
Damn.
But yeah, but every once in a while we're talking about maybe doing a reunion thing with that band. The band was called Rough Draft, so I had to give them props because
Very cool.
yeah, and one of the guys, the keyboard player, he's been all over the country. He's done cruises and everything. He still plays all
nice.
the time. Yeah, and the drummer still plays quite a bit. So yeah, at some point when I'm not as crazy busy as I am, we'll get together and we'll do a show. Or I don't know where. We'll figure it out, but.
So
But
anyway,
yeah,
you did your set.
So we did our set, and then the Mighty Water Kings get up, and I'm just blown away. This guy's the greatest guitar player I've ever seen in my life. I want to be him. I want to play every note like him. And I tell Rob Johnson, again, I'm taking lessons with him. Do you know Tony Balls? Yeah, he's a personal friend of mine. You want to meet him? Yes. And
Why, yes, I do.
and so Tony just gives me like advice, like this is a rat pedal, that's a Marshall. Turn everything up as loud as you can, and play your ass off. That's all you got to do. What kind of guitar you play? What other kind of guitar is there? I play a Strat or what? I mean, he didn't. He was giving me bullshit answers because he thought it was funny. But man, I'm telling you, the dude, they were killer, and I loved everything about him. And the singer was hilarious. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but he was entertaining to watch and funny, and they would do this thing where Mike Murphy would sing like James Brown, you got to help me, I can't make it by myself, and they'd put the cape on him and walk him off the stage, and then he'd flip it off, help me, and you'd hear him say like, he'd be on the radio. They do this live broadcast on LRS, and folks, I wish you could see him. He's so pretty, so beautiful. Mike Magic Johnson Murphy, the king of beanie weenies, and he'd make all this crazy shit up, and it would be hilarious. But at the end of the night, the guy who owned Yogi's was like, "Hey, how much you guys charge for a gig?" And I had been asking all the bands, "Hey, how much you charge for a gig?" And of course, they wouldn't tell me.
Right.
But
They
they gave me ballparks. You should ask for this much. So we did, and he agreed to pay us less than that, which I don't even remember. I doubt if we made $100 a person. We probably made $50 a person.
Right.
We probably made half of what we'd make at a wedding. And like dumbasses, we were like, we're on our way.
Oh my god.
Tony! Have you heard everybody's heard the If I Knew Then What I Know
now. Yes.
That's a classic. And
If I knew then what I know now, I'd be a quadrillionaire.
yeah.
Fuck out of here with that.
I'd own Google or Apple or both or something.
I'd own the fucking world.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd invent the pop top or whatever on the soda can. And my dad always used to say that. Well, if I could invent something like the pull tab, that guy, the one that stays on it and doesn't, and you don't cut your damn foot on it, that guy's a goddamn genius. My dad went through this whole phase where he tried to invent shit.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he'd call me up and he'd have these really cockamamie ideas, and some of them were way ahead of their time. Like some of them were shit with cell phones now you could totally do, and somebody's done them. Like, you call 911 and they know where you are based on GPS coordinates and shit. And it would automatically tell the ambulance where your location is.
Right.
It's like Find My iPhone type stuff.
Oh, yeah. I know.
And I was like, well, every person has to wear some kind of locator or something. He goes, well, if you want the ambulance to find your ass and take you to the hospital, you will, and you'll pay for it. And I was like, how's that going to work? And he's like, I don't know. I'm going to talk to some smart people and see if I can. And he knew all these engineers. And they were like, yeah, it's not possible yet. Maybe in 10 years. And now we
all have it in our pocket.
We all have it in our pocket. And he was thinking, if you could, he was like, somebody listen to me, goddammit. And nobody would. And so.
This crazy motherfucker.
Yeah. What the fuck's he talking about? GPS.
What is a GPS?
What is a GPS?
I don't even know what a GPS is. So, I'm assuming that you played all through college.
I did.
And then you got all smart in computers and got big boy job.
Yeah, I did
but you still played.
I did that, but I didn't get my degree. I ended up getting my degree when I was 45. I dropped out because I got pissed off. And when you get pissed off at university, I got news for you. They don't give two fucks.
No.
You're just some pissed off asshole without a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't
kids, if you're listening, they don't give a shit if you're pissed off or not. Stick with your shit and do what you're supposed to do. Be an adult. It's hard, I know, but do it. Trust me.
My pop, who you saw the other night, but I don't think you met him. No, I did. I did introduce to him. You didn't get to spend any time with him. He's an amazing human being. And he gave me a piece of advice probably 30 years ago when we hated each other. Maybe a little longer than that. No, about 30 years ago. My dad and I used to hate each other. Now he's probably one of my best friends. He's awesome. 76, doesn't give two shits about anything. But he looked at me one day and he was making a circle with his finger. And he said, you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You can be as pissed off as you want. This circle is the world. It's going to spin without you because it don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And I went, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
It don't give a fuck.
Going through life pissed off is no way to go through life.
No, and I'm an angry person by nature.
I am too.
I mean, I have my anger under control now, but it took me a long time to figure that out.
And I don't know why.
Go ahead, get pissed off. We don't fucking care.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm mad. I got nothing to be mad about. I just think it's like my energy is like, maybe I just get it out. And
I think that's the way I am. And I have no problems admitting it. I don't know if I've ever even talked about it on the show, but I went to anger management when I got divorced. I had to. I was that dude that was going to snap and be on the news.
Oh, okay.
I was that fucking angry, and I've always been that angry. But I electively said, I have a problem. I need to go talk to somebody.
That's good.
And I went to anger management, and I saw a therapist for a while, and the point of it all was she gave me a different perspective to look at the anger. Don't look at it as bad. It's not a bad, it's a fucking emotion. Happiness is an emotion. Mm-hmm. Sadness is an emotion. Mm-hmm. It's just an emotion. The problem that most people have, and this is what she told me, and I agree with her. Problem most people have is they don't know what to do with the anger.
Yeah.
It just stews and festers, and then you become a miserable human being that nobody wants to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And you blow up and break shit and throw shit, and you're just a fucking douchebag. You have to address it and accept it and figure out where to put it. Once she gave me that, I went, that makes perfect fucking sense. Mm. That's how I've kind of controlled my anger now. Because I used to be that guy. Like you've seen the vein in my forehead. I know you've seen it. Usually when I'm singing AC/DC, it's yep. But that vein would come out over stupid shit.
Yeah, I get mad at like traffic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And my wife was like, "Well, you just calm the fuck down. There's nothing you can do about it." And she tries to be all zen with me, and I'm just like, but I need to be an idiot right now. Will you just let me be a fucking idiot for 2 minutes? She's like,
that's because she's a better human than most of us.
She's like, I let you be an idiot for 23 of the 24 days. Give me the 2 hours in the car where you're not. Can you do that? And what was funny is that Aiden was in the back seat, and he was, I don't even remember how old he was, but he was certainly too old to say this. But I'm driving, and I was like, oh my gosh, this dude. And Aiden goes, oh, these people are just fucking idiots. And I'm like, okay, so now
I've corrupted my child.
I've officially corrupted my child at the age of 4 or 3, however old he was. And I'm just like, okay, buddy, we don't say that. And then it was like, well, we say it. But we say it in the car around mom and dad. We don't say it, Hey, there's a couple things you don't do. You don't talk about religion at school. And you don't...
Or on my podcast.
Yeah. And you don't... to other people other than mom and dad. And you don't talk about any of that. You don't say vulgar things, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, all right, what the fuck ever. My son does have he has said some... But of course, he's hanging out with kids. I mean, he's in high school now.
Right.
So his middle school experience at where he went to middle school was like, he'd come home and ask me questions. And I'm just like, oh, where did you hear that? Oh, I know where you heard it, but who,
how?
And at that point, it's like, all right, let's have a talk. So yeah, I mean.
He's a good kid now.
Yeah.
He's a pretty funny kid. He's got your personality for sure. Pretty funny.
He's a smart little shit too.
Well, he's got 2 pretty smart parents. You're a smart fucking dude. I mean, your wife's way smarter than you.
Yeah. She's got more common sense. I was gonna say she's book smart, but she's got way more common sense too.
I mean, so you got double fucked on that.
I did, man.
You married up.
I'm outside in the rain without sense enough to come in bitching that I'm out in the rain, and she's inside going, "Hey, dumbass, come here,
open the door.
What do you want?" Trying to help you out.
So you married way up.
Yeah, I did. I married up.
I mean, I married up too. Pay Stacy a lot of money to put up with my shit. Now, when... Love you, fucker. High five in the microphone. That's the first one of the show.
Hey.
So, I'm going to assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that through most of your adult life, you played and worked like the rest of us did.
I did. Yep.
And then, when did you get in Wax Factory?
Oh my goodness. It hadn't been 2 years. It's been, I think it was, my first gig was probably April 1st of last year. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going backwards purposely. What band were you in before Wax Factory? Because I can never remember.
Well, I was in a couple bands, but the one I was playing with the most at the time was Rob Key and Timber Ridge.
Right. You were in Headcase, right?
And I was in Headcase.
With Jamie.
That was Jamie and my brother.
Okay, right.
And a few different singers.
Yeah, because the only singer I remember was Ryan, I think. Ryan Oliver, right? Yeah.
He was with us for a brief while. The longest tenure was a guy named Shawn Hill that doesn't sing anymore. He doesn't perform anymore. He really didn't before us, and he hasn't since.
Weird.
I know, but he was one of those guys where we had auditioned people, and auditions were painful.
Auditions are always painful.
We had guys that were really freaky weird. Like one guy I had to just tell, get the fuck out of the house right now, and it's not even my house. One guy came in with his girlfriend, and
get your shit and leave.
He had like a briefcase thing, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy's got like hundreds of lyrics and shit, and he was like, hey, you mind if I have a beer? And I'm like, where are you going to get a beer from? He pulls it out of the briefcase. He auditioned 4 songs. He drank 4 beers. So I say to his girlfriend, she's over, I was sitting on the steps of the basement, and I lean over and I say, hey, does he drink a lot? She goes, yeah, he's got a real problem. She goes, I'm hoping to hook him up with some guys that don't drink so he can have a positive influence. I was like, yeah, we're not the guys. And he was good, but he didn't know any of the songs we asked him to know, but he knew all these other songs. And I'm like, this guy's coming in manipulating this band to play the songs he likes. I'm not letting him do that. No,
that's
the road,
that's
pal.
not cool. That's not cool.
So yeah, but it was Headcase for we started before 2000, because my brother didn't start playing bass until 98, 99.
Damn, he started way late.
He started way late. He wanted to be a guitar player like me, not like me, but same as me, a guitar player. Right. And I bought him his first guitar. I bought it at Mom's at a closed door sale. It was my first 6 months same as cash, thanks to Mark Maxwell. He said, you know you can finance 6 months same as cash. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he says, well, you fill out a bunch of paperwork and you prove income. And then if they think you make enough money, you get the loan and then you get 6 months to pay it off with no interest. And I'm like, sounds genius. where do I sign? And I did. And I signed. And Mark Maxwell's almost responsible for me being in debt. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I was smart about it, my dad, when I went home and told my dad what I did, he was like, all right, let me sit down.
Let me explain.
He goes, if you don't, he goes, what's the interest rate if you don't pay it off in 6 months? I said, I don't know. He goes, yeah, read that shit. Let me see the paperwork. And he handed it to me. He goes, 21%. He goes, you know, my credit card here, my interest rate is 6%. Do the math. You got to pay this off on time. I said, no problem. And I did. And of course, my brother paid me back. He was only 14, but he was cutting grass and working bingo and all this other stuff. Catholic thing. And
I was getting ready to say, what the fuck is working bingo?
Catholics love to gamble. Yeah, I used to make a lot of money. I'm telling you, it's that Catholic guilt. Yeah, we drink and then we go to, hey man, I'm really sorry about that drinking and gambling I did. Hey, you're absolved. Say a couple Hail Marys, you know.
My mom used to say Hail Marys full of grapes.
Yeah. What is it? My wife's family used to call us mackerel snappers. You know, fish on Friday. I still don't understand what God has to do with, you can't eat nothing but fish on Friday. How's that for a rule? You know, sounds good to me, as long as I don't go to hell. Any other rules I need to know about? Yeah, you need to come to church and give me 10% of whatever you make, or whatever you can afford, you know. 10% would be ideal. 20% is even better. Because, you know, divinity doesn't keep the lights on.
I can't eat a divinity sandwich.
Yeah. Unless that's a dish, isn't it? I don't know. Divinity a thing? You can eat?
Divinity exposure.
There you go. Instant heaven.
In sandwich form.
In sandwich. Now in sandwich form. New and improved. Tastes like chicken. Can I get that? Can I get that toasted?
With extra cheese?
Yeah, I gotta get it toasted, man. Put some pepper jack cheese on that, make it a little spicy. Now we're talking.
Oh, God damn it. Shut up. I can't breathe.
Yeah. So I don't even know what we were talking about.
No, I got nothing.
That was like the derailment and taking out the whole town with it.
Oh, that was amazing. I'm so glad that I was recording that. That's awesome. Divinity exposure.
I hope somebody thinks it's funny. I don't know.
I don't give a shit. I thought it was funny as fuck. Divinity exposure now in sandwich form.
Yes. With cheese.
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's fine. T-shirt hell probably has that. Yeah.
Probably.
What is it? The one I saw was like, there are two people fucking on the back of this shirt, and it was Jesus, and he's just kidding. Got his thumbs up, you know. Something like that. Or the other one I liked was so much was on the back of the shirt, and it says, the girl I'm talking to right now is such a bitch. And it's like, you know, I want that shirt. And I want somebody to take a picture of me, every girl. You know? Hey, come here, I need to talk to you. Click. You know?
You're a twisted fuck.
And this is why Tony had no girlfriends for years. You know?
This is why you pay Rudy a lot of money to be your wife.
That's right.
Oh, God bless. All right, so we were talking about bands, and Headcase was for a while.
Yeah, so that, like I said, my brother started late, and I bought him that guitar. And then the next time I went over to the house, well, it wasn't the next time, but quite a few, maybe a year or so later, I go over to the house one day and, hey, whatever happened to that guitar? You know, I was going to check it out. Maybe change the strings or something on it. And he comes in with a Ziploc, and it just has parts. I'm like, what is this? He goes, it's all that's left, if you want it. I was like a tremolo block and a tremolo arm and a few screws. Like, what? Where's the rest of it? Well, a buddy of mine had a guitar that needed a new neck. And so I sold him the neck for like $200. And then another friend of mine needed a guitar body for a project he was doing. He goes, I sold the guitar for parts for more than what I paid for it. And I was like, okay, smart, dumb, but what are you going to play now? He goes, oh, I'm not playing guitar, man. I don't give a shit, you know. And on a whim, I think he had gone to one of the music stores and bought a bass.
Right.
And started playing it. I was like, oh, I like this. And he called me up and said, come over to the house. You know, I learned a few songs. See what you think. Tell me if I'm on the right track. And I went over there with a guitar, and he, you know, he had learned like Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana and stuff like that was out in the 90s.
Right.
And he didn't just like chug on root notes and stuff. He had learned the intricate bass part to like Interstate Love Song or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's, you know, yeah. that's the song. I mean, what else? And he's like, I kind of learned this song, and oh man, I need to get a drummer, and let's let's see what it sounds like with a drummer. And I called up my old drummer that I was in a band with before, a guy named Shane Strobel, and went over to his house, and we had some PA left over from a band we were in that we just let sit over at his house. And
right.
Plugged it up and went through a half a dozen songs or so, or maybe 10 songs, and Shane was like, when did we get a singer? I guess we start looking now. I looked at my brother. You into this? He was like, yep, let's do it. So that's how Headcase, and then the name came about because this guy's girlfriend was kind of a nut job, and she would like, we're going to go rehearse, and he'd call me up and say, my girlfriend left again, packed up all his shit and left before I got home, and a couple days later she'd be back, and my brother's like, man, your girlfriend's a real Headcase, and he wrote it on his snare drum with pencil on the snare drum head, and he's like, Headcase, kind of like that, and that's how the name came to be. And
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, so it was, and
I remember when I met Jamie years and years ago,
mm-hmm.
and we were hanging out, and he was showing me pictures of that flame Yamaha he used to have,
mm-hmm.
and he had his kick drum head had Headcase on it, and it had a Jester head.
Yep.
I remember I had known him an hour, and I looked at him and I said, "The fuck is that shit?"
Yeah.
What?
I have no idea where. So here's that preceded.
The name was cool, but I was like,
that
Gesture head. What
that
the fuck?
preceded him. So that was one of those where hey, let's put a website together. Because I'm the IT guy, and I'm like, we need a website that nobody will ever hit. So I'm on like I think it was Insight at the time, which is now Spectrum or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I could get a free website, and I can direct people. I can go buy a URL for $5 and forward everybody to the Insight and mask it, and they'd never even know where they were. They just know they're at Headcase Rocks, because it turns out Headcase.com was a dude that sold hemp products like hats and jackets and stuff, and I called him up or emailed him and said, hey man, you want to partner on this thing, and I'll call the band Headcase, and we'll whatever. And he's like, fuck you. He had nothing he's like, dude, I'm waiting for, he was in Tacoma, Washington or something. He's like, I'm waiting for legalized marijuana, man. My shit's gonna blow up. And it's gone now. I don't know what happened to the guy.
I was going to say he's probably a millionaire now. But
yeah, he had nothing. He was like, I don't want anything. He literally. Can you say it or do I?
A good job.
Yeah,
you beat me to the punch.
It came right.
That came right out.
But he was like, his email to me was, I seriously want zero to do with you. Thanks. But at least he said thanks. So.
At least he was honest.
Yeah. So
he didn't bullshit.
No, he didn't bullshit.
He didn't beat around the bush. I like that too.
So I was like, Headcase Rocks. Because somebody else had something rocks, and I'm like, that must be what bands do. They put rocks at the end of the name, so that's what I did. And I created the website, and I'm like, I need a logo. And Shane was like, I drew this stupid Jester thing, and I don't even know what it was for, but that's what became the logo, and it makes absolute zero sense completely. And when Jamie joined the band, it was the drummer and the singer didn't get along.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I still don't understand what happened, but we've all gotten over it. And he actually asked, the drummer said, it's either me or him. And I said, okay, you're going to ask me to choose between you, the guy who plays the drums, and the singer who books every gig, brings 100 people to every show, who's always on time, who always is prepared, who always knows the lyrics, who's working to market the living shit out of us. Again, you want me to choose between you two?
Later, dude.
So, and I met Jamie through Ryan.
That's how I met Jamie.
Because I knew Ryan, and he and I, our paths had barely crossed or whatever.
Oh, wait. As Aaron would call it, the 6 degrees of Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So I was like, hey, you know any drummers? And he's like, as a matter of fact, the guy was just in the store today looking for a gig, and here's his number. And I called him, and we went over to his house, and we walked into the basement, and there's this giant Tama I think, at the time.
Was it the flame one?
He had a Yamaha kit, but he also had a Tama and a rack.
The Yamaha one was the flame one.
Yeah, I don't remember which one this was, but it was a huge rack.
Yeah, he did have a rack
with
for a minute.
ass tons of drums, and I'm like, if this guy's not any good, this is the biggest waste of fucking money I have ever seen. I'm gonna punch him in the face. You guys might be taking me out to jail because if this guy's not any good, I'm pissed off now. Because that is one nice drum kit with every accessory you can buy.
Oh yeah,
every plastic block and 6 kinds of cowbells.
Oh yeah,
2 kick drums and all kinds of shit. And to Jamie's credit, he did really well in the audition. He knew every song we asked him to know. He played Pearl Jam, which was his favorite, killer. And I'm like, I just looked at the rest of the guys, and before I could even ask him, what do you think? My brother goes, "You want the gig?" And I was like, "Hey, I guess he's in the band." And Danny turns to me and he was like, "I got this. You want the gig?" And Jamie was like, "Yes." And he goes, "You're in. Where do we rehearse?" He goes, "We can rehearse right here." And we didn't know this about Jamie, but I said, "Right here around your pool table? Don't you have kids and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah. No." He goes, "I'll call my dad when we're done, and he'll remodel a room in the house for me." And he did. Mm-hmm. And they soundproofed that shit with like extra drywall soundproofing.
Yeah, I've been down there.
It was ridiculous, and it was a tiny room.
Yep.
And it had frequencies that I could not EQ out. And I'm the guy that'll EQ the shit out of stuff for days trying to find it. And there was something ringing, and finally I was like, what, fuck this. Let's all go headphones. You guys want to do headphones? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, So I got a headphone amp, and we ended up getting like Sennheiser headphones and plugged everything in. And it served 2 purposes. Number one, we could all hear our vocals. This was before anybody was using in-ear monitors.
Right.
Except for famous stars. I'm sure somebody in town was. But I was like...
it wasn't a, quote, thing yet.
No, it wasn't a thing that everybody does. And we put our headphones on, and the singer was like, holy shit, I can hear my vocals. This is fantastic. And I was like... And there's no feedback. So what I was doing is... I was running my guitar direct because I had this Marshall hybrid head that had a recording out.
Right.
I was running it direct. I didn't need a cabinet. Technically, you don't need one for that because it's solid state. So
True.
I just had it sitting on its side in the corner. My brother was running directly into this little preamp thing into the mixer. So we just had to take our instruments back and forth. And so, but Carrie, Jamie's wife, was like, it sounds like you guys are just down there yelling at Jamie playing the drums. Because all you could hear is us singing and him playing the drums. So it's like just 3 guys yelling at the drummer for an hour,
That's funny.
But it was great.
It worked.
Some people hated it. Like when we hired Ryan to join the band after Shawn quit, he absolutely hated it.
Really?
Couldn't do it. I don't know why. So I think part of the reason why he didn't want to drive to Jamie's house. So we drove all the way out to his house in Crestwood and rehearsed out there, and we cranked a PA up loud, and every day I left with my ears ringing, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Oh, you mean like when I played a few weeks ago and you were...
Well, no, I had in-ears. No, I didn't. I kept having to ask him to turn the monitor up. I was bitching like a baby. I was.
I wanted to throw things at you.
I'm glad. I mean, I got,
You're glad that I didn't throw things?
No, I'm glad that I aggravated somebody.
Oh, no. It doesn't aggravate me to that point. It aggravates me because it's constant. Don't hate me because I know how to tune my drums.
Hey, I just needed to hear. I'm an egotistical guitar player.
No.
Yes, believe it or not.
No.
Believe it or not, some guitar players have ego. Some.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm in that minute percentage that has to have the guitar louder than everything else. You should hear my in-ear mix.
No.
It's all guitar. It's all guitar and a little bit of Jessica. Maybe Joe. Well, it was Joe. It wasn't as much Joe until he got, and I'm not even going to say what it is, but until he got his new rig. Now his bass sounds amazing, brilliant.
I have to be honest with you while we're talking about that. When I filled in for Ryan at that gig a few weeks ago, it was the first time I played with a bass player with no amp.
Mm-hmm.
I never, 25 fucking years of playing, I've never had a bass player in my wedge.
Yeah.
And I had to put bass in my wedge. And I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of me, the way I play, I'm such a melodic... I don't even want to say I'm a melodic drummer, but I feed off guitar more than I do bass. You've heard me talk about that. You and I have talked about that. I like the the I guess the distorted rumble of the back end of a cabinet, of a bass cabinet. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing every bass note.
Yeah.
And Joe's a great player. It has nothing to do with his playing. He plays phenomenally. It has nothing to do with that. I just don't like the tink of every note. I want that rumble that I get from the back of a cabinet. It was fucking weird.
Going in-ear has solved a lot of that. At first, it was, I'm the same. I mean, do I miss the days of cranking up, a 50 or I used to pay a 100-watt Marshall. I mean, it's ridiculous. But do I miss those days? Absolutely, I do. And all the air moving and all the music around, and I probably played better when that was going on. Maybe not. I don't know. I think I'm probably playing better now than I ever have in my life. But which is, if anybody's watching videos of me and thinking, "Oh, holy shit, you must have been terrible earlier in life," I apologize. But I feel like I'm playing better. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's just fancy. But it's one of those things where, going in here, I can hear everything now.
Right.
And if nothing else, it's helped my singing.
Right.
Because what I've realized is, and right or wrong, people are more interested in a band that's playing things that maybe even is painfully familiar. That like, you don't need a Marshall half stack to play Whitney Houston.
No,
you just don't.
You just don't.
When we start the intro and it's not even me playing the intro, it's ding 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 ding, doom doom doom. It's all pre-recorded backing tracks, which at first I hated as well, but I've grown to really like them. And when we play that song, people's like woo, and they start dancing, and the girls come out to the dance floor, and And only because I know you've had him on the show. If I wanted to play music for a bunch of sweaty dudes, I'd be in a band with Ron Watchmaker. You know what I'm saying? Ronnie, I love you, but I can't be in the Big Rock Show because that's just not me. I'm not the first person to say it though. I stole that off somebody. I'm not gonna say who it was because I don't want, if they didn't want me to repeat it, I don't want them to be mad at me. But I was not coining an original phrase. But yeah, this was when the Big Rock Show was in its height and Ronnie was playing, and we used to tease about a bunch of sweaty dudes going out and listening to But I did like to go out and listen to them. I've heard them a few times with Kevin McCreary, and they would do the entire Pink Floyd. Oh yeah, and I'm just like, the fuck out of here, man! I hate that guy. He's so good.
Ronnie and I talked a little bit about that on his episode, which you have not heard because it is not posted yet. But the only reason I bring it up is because we did talk a little bit about that stuff, and it's my opinion. There's nothing wrong with either side. No. You do what you want. You don't do what you want. You do what makes money. You don't do what makes money. The end of the day, we're all playing. Yeah.
You can't deny the crowds they used to get.
No, absolutely when they were playing. Not.
You can't.
Absolutely
you can say
not.
anything you want to, disparaging or otherwise, but the truth of the matter is, I never went to a Big Rock show where there wasn't a lot of people.
Oh, no.
And they were into every fucking song they did, which is okay.
Right. But
doing it right.
Call a spade a shovel. Ain't a bunch of chicks going to see Rush.
No. Well, there are, but I don't know about.
There ain't a bunch of them.
The ones that are there, I don't really want to. I don't know.
They probably got bigger sausage than we do.
Yeah. So, or they're into chicks. I don't know. Is that
not that there's anything wrong with that?
So I guess what we're saying is Rush, a bunch of lesbian fans.
I'm not saying that. You said it.
I shouldn't have. I'm a big Rush fan, so
I'm not. So I don't give a shit.
I am. We used to talk about odd tide signatures, and I'd bring up Rush, and they were like, "What?" Okay, whatever.
Yes. You know what? Never mind.
So yeah, like you don't need a 100-watt Marshall to play Whitney Houston. So it is what it is. Not that I've always played that. Can you imagine a bunch of dudes? I've seen it happen though. It would actually be kind of cool. I saw a bunch of guys cover "I Want to Dance with Somebody." There's a band called A Lion Named Roar. Have you heard of them? Mm-hmm. They do a cover of Dance with Somebody, acoustic, and it's pretty damn good. They're a talented group of guys.
I am. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you should. They do a whole bunch of covers, and on this, it's on YouTube. So
everything's on fucking YouTube.
I know.
I'm on YouTube, and I'm a fucking schmuck.
Yeah, I've got a couple of videos, but they're. I put one video up on YouTube, and this was the thing I kept telling Aiden. He wanted his own YouTube channel. He thought that he would get on there and do video game things like these other guys. Right. And I was like, well, they're already doing it. You need to do something different. You need to find something else because you're not going to be successful at something that somebody else is doing. And he goes, says the guy that plays covers. And I was like, oh,
Damn.
Well, okay then. Why don't you just do whatever you want? And so,
Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna continue to be your dad, and you fuck off and get away from me.
yeah, just do whatever you want. And he did 2 videos, and they didn't go very well. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not saying anything because you burned my ass.
You win for a while.
With truth. So
you got me with the truth.
Yeah. So anyway, I told him, I said, you gotta have thick skin if you're gonna get on YouTube.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I did a video. I bought a Bogner Alchemist amp. It's made by Line 6. Reinhold Bogner supposedly designed it. Who knows? It's a decent sounding amp. It's not something I'd want to gig with on a regular basis because it's not roadworthy. It's you bump it a couple times and stuff's going to start breaking. Anyway, I'm demoing this amp because I think it sounds really good. And I play this thing, and when I'm finished playing, I said, man, I'm going to post it on YouTube, whatever. I'll post it on YouTube. The first comment was a guy saying, you should kill yourself.
Are you fucking serious?
Swear to God, you should kill yourself. That was the most god-awful thing I've ever heard. You just went on and on and on and on and on with the same shit over and over again. I'm like, thanks. And then he deleted the comment. And I was like, don't delete the comment. I like that. That was good. It reminds me of when Eric Clapton talked about the Clapton is God painting.
Oh, yeah.
And the dog peeing on it.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, I rock that. And this guy's like, you should kill yourself. So
Everybody's got a fucking opinion.
what was it, Louis C.K.? And I hate to quote him because he's a pervert, but he said,
Stop. I've said it on the show before. I don't care if that dude fucked a cow. He's a funny son of a bitch.
he's funny.
I don't
He's
give a
funny.
shit what he does.
Yeah, he is
I'm
funny.
going to say it, and I don't care who gets mad at me.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's funny.
He is.
He diddles himself in front of chicks. Whatever.
Whatever.
That's
Okay.
your deal. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But he said we could all be nicer to each other and not have technology. Like we can get rid of all this technology and be a lot nicer as human beings. Or we can have this wonderful technology and we can make snarky comments about somebody on YouTube while we're taking a shit. It's true.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
It is true.
So I'm on YouTube on the shitter. You know?
Yes, exactly. All right, before we move on to social media issues, head case ended when?
Head case at I'm trying to remember what year. It's been a few years before. I'm trying to think. Maybe 2016.
So it was a couple of years before you got in Wax Factory.
Yeah,
Okay,
because my brother had told me, he said, I'm done. I'm kind of tired of this. We had at the time we had David Holbach playing drums, which the greatest thing for my brother because those two guys were firing on all cylinders at all times.
Right.
It was some of the greatest shows I've ever played were with David Holbach and my brother on bass because they got it. I would turn around to Holbach and I'd be like, slow down. And I'd catch Danny in the corner of my eye going, you watch me. You fuck him. You watch me. And I'm like, you know what? 100% right. I'm just going to go over here and rip solos and do my thing because they got this.
Right.
I'm just riding along now. The bus they're fully capable of handling this and I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
And Billy did his thing. Billy Burton was singing for us. And we were doing great songs and having a lot of fun and everything, and then my brother was just like, man, I'm so tired of this adult daycare called a bar, just watching these drunk assholes just come in here and and there were a few times where people get real obnoxious.
Right.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
And he'd have to set them straight, and we had one guy just come crashing into the stage one time and hit his microphone and knocked it into his mouth. And I saw the fuse just click, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna kill this guy. Everybody's going to jail." And he stopped himself, and he helped the guy up. And the guy turns around. He was like, "You're never gonna do that again, are you?" And he was like, "No." And he goes, "That's right." He goes, "Now, 10 feet away from the stage at all times, or I will smash your face in with this monitor. We clear?"
Damn.
And the guy goes, 100%. He goes, "Go get me a beer." And the guy walked over to the bar and bought him a beer and handed it to him. And he was like, "Cheers." And they had a drink together. And he turns around to me. He was like, "All right, what were we doing?"
Wait, what happened?
We go into the next song. And it was like, he almost killed the guy. But then he's like, "No, I'm just going to handle this the right way." And
Damn.
So, yeah. So his fuse is that long. It was short. Nobody can see me because I'm making this tiny little
This is audio only.
This is audio. Yeah, I'll figure it out at some point. So you need some kind of caption or something. Tony's now taking his fingers and holding them an inch apart. So
I've been saying I'm going to get a camera in here, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't want to.
Nah, you shouldn't. It's better audio.
I like it audio. Yeah.
But yeah, so he decided he wanted to quit, and I'm like, all right. And then it was disappointing because we had been doing it for so long. We've been doing it for 16 years at that point,
right?
And which with one little small break.
Damn,
and,
I didn't realize that band had been together that long.
Yeah, I mean it was 2001. We did our first show. 2001, 2002. 2001 we started, building the song list or whatever. So
right.
And our first gig was at Gersel's, and we made a ton of money because they charged at the door, and then they handed us all the money from the door, and all of Sean's friends showed up, and it was like, and they all were like these young professional guys that worked for like consulting firms, and they all had tons of money, and they were just throwing money around like crazy. And the guy who owned the bar at the time was not Eric, it was some other guy, and he was like, can I get you guys in here every night? Because it was packed. I mean, I got pictures, and you couldn't see anything but people.
Right.
And I think it was on a Thursday night. So we brought huge crowds in there regularly, and we had a great time. And he was like, it ran its course. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of burned out of it. And my girlfriend and I like to travel. And there are times when I just want to get in the car and go on a weekend to Nashville or to wherever. And I don't want to have the burden of playing. And I don't want to hold you guys back. And he was like, David, I know you like to play music a lot. Billy, I know you like to play. God knows, Tony, you like to play, so why don't I just bow out? And at that point, I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this without you, though.
Right.
Because it's head case, and we started it. And so I said, I put the kibosh on it. And at the time, I was playing with Audio Addiction.
Right.
And I was also playing with Rob Key and Timber Ridge.
Right.
And I was like, my plate's full. I don't want to keep 3 bands going. So I ended that, and then I shortly thereafter quit Audio Addiction. And so there was a brief period where David Holback and I didn't like each other. We yelled at each other on the phone a couple times, and then we made up because he is my friend, and I met him when he joined the band, and I knew of him for years before that.
Right.
And I think both of us had, I know he feels like I screwed him over at the time, and maybe I did when I quit the band because he was really trying to get that band going. But as you can see, everything happens for a reason. Really, I believe that. He's kicking ass with Soul Circus, and I love that band. And
now you're talking about screwed him over with Audio Addiction.
Yeah.
Oh, that I'll say it because I don't give a shit. That man has been riddled with problems from day one.
Yeah, I mean they got Ronnie after me, and he didn't stay very long. But of course now she's got Bill Miles and Todd Nickens, and they're hey. Best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
I want no animosity. I love all of her and Dana and Dennis. She was on a podcast and talking about the band, and they asked, and it was like right after I quit, and they asked who's in the band, and Gary was in the band before me, and then me, and she didn't mention any of us. We're like dead, and I'm like, well, okay, and then we haven't talked. She hasn't talked to me since, and I'm like, well, I'm still sleeping tonight, so.
I sleep very
well. You know what I mean? Much respect and love, but hey, it's okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. So you started subbing for Wax Factory, correct? Is that kind of how you got that gig?
Well, actually, in all honesty, what happened was I was playing with Rob Key.
What happened was
I was playing country music. And listen, I like country music. I really hated it at first, and I grew to like it quite a bit.
When you start playing, I've said it before on the show to my friends, to my musician buddies, when you start tearing that shit apart and learning it, you get a whole new respect for it because you're like, fuck, I didn't realize this shit was that hard.
Yeah. And when Rob's saying, we're going to learn Just Stay Here and Drink, and I'm like, oh, I got to learn that solo? Yeah, and they go, we're going to learn Liza Jane. I'm like, oh, there's only one guy in town I know who can play Liza Jane, and that's Sean Shelton, who I just threw his name out because he's a friend of mine and he's good. And he can play that solo a million times better than me.
Sean Shelton is very good.
Yeah. He's the reason why I bought a Zelux, because he had one, and I thought, man, that sounds good. And then when one came available, I was like, done, mine, I got it. Of course, I've sold it. But still, I loved playing country.
Right.
I really did. And sometimes I miss it. And so we'll probably play more in Wax Factory. But Rob was going through some stuff where, he was changing jobs, and they were moving, and he was like, I can't keep this up. And so he was going to slow it down. And so So I said, well, I need to find something. And I guess the easiest thing for me to do is find a rock band. So on a whim, I jump on Facebook. Anybody know a rock band looking for a guitar player? Hit me up. And my phone rings and it's Ryan. Mm-hmm. And hello, and he's like, "You serious?" And that's the first thing. You serious? And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "That post on Facebook." I said, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh shit, what have I posted now?" What am I getting ready to get my ass roomed over now? And he was like, "Oh, you said you needed looking for a band." I said, "Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not in trouble. Yeah." And he was like, "Totally." And I said, "Totally what?" And he was like, "Wax Factory." I was like, "Well, what's wrong with Jeff?" And he's, "Oh, Jeff, he's leaving."
Hi, how you doing?
So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Sure."
Everybody knows at this point, Jeff left to join my band.
Yes, he did.
Which was not my intention.
Well, hey,
but it happened.
I can't say I'm unhappy about the situation.
I wouldn't say you are either.
Brilliantly.
Yeah, and Jeff's not even in my band anymore. Jeff told me last May he did his last show with Gas Money at Baxter's, and he said, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And there's no animosity. Jeff and I are fine. He's like, I'm done.
Yep.
I went, okay, cool.
And everybody, Joe and Jessica and Ryan love him. I love him to death.
Yeah, I love him dearly.
He's a great dude. And
he's a good dude.
And I'm thinking, and I'd seen them play quite a few times, and I'm thinking, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm up for this. He's a good player, and
that's really good player.
And this is music I'm not that familiar with. I'm not sure I can do this, but I thought I'll give it a try. And I thought, one of the things that maybe I can bring to the table is I'll sing a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, and I had been singing a whole lot, trying to do background vocals for a few years and trying to get that going. And so I thought, okay, I'll just sing a bunch. And then Jessica, at one point, I think it was Signed, Sealed, Delivered. We were doing it in rehearsal. And I was doing a lot of vocals. And she turns to me and she was like, I got this. And just the other night at 4th Street Live, this guy got up and he wanted to do Living on a Prayer.
Right.
No. It was a Bon Jovi tune. It wasn't Living on a Prayer. It was Dead or Alive.
Right.
And I'm so used to singing all the background on that because we did it for years in Headcase. And so I'm singing. I look over at her and she was like, every time she goes to sing, I sing. And she's like, are you going to let me sing or not? And I'm like, yeah. Another guy's going to do it again. I'll let you sing. And as soon as she went to sing, I'm like, I start singing. And she's looking at me like, I'm going to kill you.
She's going to kick your ass one day.
Yeah.
She's going to do it on stage. It's going to be funny.
It'll be funny as hell.
Jess, there's a 20 spot in it for you if you do it on stage. So you've been in that band almost 2 years?
Yeah. So my first gig was April 1st, I think, of not this year, but last year.
Yeah, so a year and a half.
Yeah, it's a year and a half.
Yeah, because that would be Jeff joined Gas Money in January of 17, and then a couple months later he quit Wax Factory and was with us full time. Mm-hmm. Because Adam left Gas Money. Mm-hmm. I replaced Adam with Jeff. Mm-hmm. And again, no animosity there. Adam's actually back in the band now.
Yeah.
And then Jeff decided he didn't want to do both bands. And so, yeah. And then Jeff quit Gas Money in May of this year. Right around almost the same time frame, except you're still in Wax Factory.
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, that's how I got in the band. And
that's where you and I actually started, quote, hanging out. Because I had seen you, and you knew I was friends with Jamie, and I'd seen Headcase a couple times.
Yeah, you're all Jamie talked about for a long time. Seriously. I mean, Steven says I should turn my kick drum, and he's got rulers out, and I don't even know. I mean, it's like, dude, what does Steven say about personal hygiene?
There's a lot that we won't talk about, because some of it's fucking creepy.
Yeah, he was.
And I love Jamie to death.
I do too.
But sometimes.
That was the hardest thing I ever had to do. In playing music was to tell him he's not in the band anymore.
Oh, I can imagine.
And it was, and he took it like a man. I mean, he was really big about it, and he knew it was time because he wasn't really, he really wasn't doing what we wanted to do. He wasn't learning the new songs. He wasn't really putting the effort in, and I think he was thinking, it's kind of not wanting to be in this band right now, but didn't realize it. And I'm still very good friends with him, and I think he's one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met.
Oh, Jamie's awesome. He just. I've said this to his face, so I'm not talking shit about him. Jamie is the guy that was never the cool kid in school. He was so on the outskirts of the cool kid. And then when he grew up and he got into music as an adult, he's in with the cool kids now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to be He doesn't know how to just be.
Yeah.
And I've told him that to his face. I'm like, dude, you just need to just be, brother.
Yeah, just
It's
chill.
fine.
Just chill.
Everything's cool.
Yeah, he's wound a little tight sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
And he would get real nervous when musicians would show up at gigs, and he would start messing up, and I'd turn around and say, hey, man, it's just Saturday night.
Yeah. You're just playing drums, brother.
And he was like, no, I'm just, I'm so nervous. No.
No.
Just do a shot. It's all good.
It's all good.
Just have a good time.
Yeah.
No, your friends aren't judging you, man. We're just,
No. And he's taken a lot of that advice from all of us,
Yeah.
myself included, and he's doing well. He's in I think he's in the Bourbonauts now.
Yeah.
And he plays cajon with
I've seen him play cajon
Frankie
with,
Moody.
Yes, and he's good.
Yeah.
They do good together.
They do well together. It's awesome. All right. So let's move on to social media issues. All right, so what do you got for social media issues? Because I know you got a bunch, because we're going to talk about something that's going to make Ryan Murphy very happy.
Well, all right. So,
But we'll save that for the end.
I kind of thought about it a little bit. Actually, I thought about it a lot. And I don't know what I could add that hadn't already been covered by everybody that's been on the podcast already.
I know,
You what
I've
mean?
said it on a few episodes. Eventually, social media issues is probably going to go away. Or I'm just going to make a big fucking satire piece out of it.
Oh, yeah. You can turn around
And just start
spin it
reading
some way.
shit.
But I kind of, sometimes, anytime you're dealing with, so if you talk about it in terms of, the anonymity, that's not the right word.
Anonymity.
Anonymity, thank you. Who's the smart one again? Oh, yeah, it's my wife. So if you talk about it in those terms, I'm not even going to try to say it. People bully each other, and I think David Hoback talked about that in the first episode, being a bully. And
Yeah, online bullying.
I
and all
equate
that
it
shit.
to the same as driving in the road. You got this buffer. You're driving down the road in your car. Somebody cuts you off, and you're like, "Oh, you miserable piece of shit!" And you flip them off, and you're like, "Because I'm never going to see this guy. He's not going to stop his car." Some do.
Some do.
Some do. Those are the ones that shoot you.
There's more than one reason why I have black windows on my car.
Well, yeah. So that's what it's
flip
like.
you off, and you'll never see it.
People just think that they're in these buffer zones where
Yeah.
they think it's perfectly okay to behave a certain way. And, I'm not going to say that there's something wrong with, in some ways losing your humanity on the internet, because I've been a real prick to some people.
Yes, you have.
On purpose, for humor. Remember, I explained earlier about my mother. So maybe I have mommy issues. I don't know. I'm just trying to show. I'm just trying to keep my mother's memory alive by being a complete asshole to some people on Facebook.
I love you for that.
But if you issues, all right. So if you think about it, there's one of the main issue I have is I'm old. I don't know how to do Snapchat. I don't know anything about Instagram. I'm constantly asking Aiden, what does this button mean? What's this icon popped? What does it mean? It means you've been tagged, dumbass. Oh, okay. Somebody put me in a photo.
Yeah.
And I said, how do I get to it? He goes, you touch it. I said, I did. And I touch it again, it works. I'm like, oh, okay. I just got really weird fingers or something. And, I can't even touch the screen right because I'm an old man. I should go back to flip phones and just calling people. Hey, what'd you post on Facebook today? So I can read it to me line by line because I don't have a smartphone anymore. So
Hey, I miss my fucking razor.
Well, that's the IT guy has a flip phone. So
Not far-fetched.
it's true. But honestly, when I think about social media issues, I think about the vulnerability that people have. They don't realize it. And this is coming from an IT perspective. When I see these guys or whoever, the latest one, which I said something to some people about, were the guys that were posting the pictures saying, this is what I look like as a chick. Did you see those?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I did.
Every one of those apps, when you go into it and it says log in as Facebook, we will not share your information or post on your behalf or whatever. Well, that's what you did was you just went out and you found a dude that's outside your house. And he's like, hey, I don't want to come in or nothing, but if you'll give me a key, I'll just hold on to the key. I'm not going to do anything. I'm gonna do this cool thing. I'm gonna say some cool stuff about you or whatever, or I'll let you have this cool brochure or something you can show other people. But I do need the key to your house. No problem. Here you go. Here's the key. While you're gone, this motherfucker's in your house, and he's in there forever, and he's got every picture you've ever shared of your kid. And of course, I'm saying this, and I know that somebody's already got pictures of my kid, my wife, and me, and everything else because I posted it on Facebook.
Right.
And that means I might as well have just posted it on a telephone pole at the end of the street.
Right.
And so, but it's dangerous because, and the reason why I say this, I guess mine's a cautionary tale to be careful, because everybody's on social media and everybody's sharing everything, and I use it as a platform to promote the band and everything else.
Right.
And I've been burned so many times by trying to be clever or whatever, and then somebody takes a big fat shit on it, or
they take it wrong.
Or yeah, that's really difficult to do, is because you don't have the body language along, and that gets me in trouble constantly. I've been in trouble at work before for emails where they're like, "Oh, you're just talking down to me." No, you needed to know what to do, and I gave you A, B, C, D, and well, you didn't have to say it like that. Well, how in the hell was I supposed to say it?
Right.
So I get in trouble for that, because it's like, we don't know what you were trying to say. We just think you're being an ass.
Stacy gets on me about the same thing.
I come across as an asshole often, especially electronically. And so, but, so there's that aspect of it, and then there's the technological aspect of it, where, we're opening ourselves up through these avenues to just be exposed and for people to take advantage of us. And, so my brother's been deceased now since March.
Right.
And he had a really dear friend who I'm friends with on Facebook, a super nice guy, Gary. And Gary's, I don't know if they're married or not. That's terrible. I don't know. I'm thinking they're not. But anyway, I get this message out of the blue from him. "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, Gary's checking on me. How cool, And so I'm, "Hey, doing great. How about you?" "We're great." He goes, "Hey, have you heard from such and such yet?" And it was some 4-letter acronym I'd never heard of before. And I'm like, well, maybe this is something to do, because he was an electrician. Maybe this is something to do with the electrician's local, and maybe there's some benefit available to my brother, a death benefit or something. I don't know. "No, I haven't heard from him yet, "Oh, yeah, you should totally call this number and talk to Eric, Agent Eric John or something." I'm like, the way he's typing just doesn't sound right. And so I'm like, what is this again? He goes, "Well, I got a settlement. I got $500,000. Now, I know Gary. If Gary got $500,000, there would be a party. And I would have already been there. And we would have been hammered, and we would have been crying talking about how wonderful my brother was. And then we'd be drinking again, and we'd be like, I was like, oh, somebody has stolen Gary's identity.
Right.
God damn it, So I'm like, all right, well, time to have some fun. So I messaged the guy back, "Hey, have you told my brother yet? Because he'll want to know about this." And he's like, "Yeah. Talked to him about it yesterday, and he's already submitted the paperwork." I said, "Great, because the motherfucker's been dead since March." But I didn't say that. I'm just like, all right, time to keep dragging this on, And I said, "So who am I need to talk to again? Because I'm totally going to hit this guy up right now. His name is Eric Johns or something. Here's his phone number. Here's his email address." "Okay. I'm calling him." "You calling him right now?" "I'm calling him right now. He's not answering. Try him again." I know this is the guy. I'm calling his phone, I was like, "Oh, all right, I got through to him. I'm talking to him right now. He wants to know when you're having your coming out party." And he was like, "My what?" And I said, "Your coming out party." He goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, according to Eric on the phone right now, he says you love to suck dick." And that's when he blocked me. And I couldn't respond to him anymore. And I was disappointed, because I thought, man, I went right for it too. I should have drugged this out a little longer and had some gold, but because I love messing with these scammer dudes. It's one of my hobbies. I love it. So I'm like, instantly, I hit this guy up who runs a site called Hoge Hotel.
I love you.
And I'm like, "Hey man, here's a phone number and an email address. Please blow this guy up." And he was like, he emails me back. He goes, "Blowing him up at the moment." And this guy has got all this software where he can dial you. He can call you from a number and you answer it and you're like, block. He calls you from another number. Block. He calls you from, he's got 1,000,000 numbers. He has the same software that those guys have when they call you, and they're spoofing your number, and you think, because my phone starts with 299 and somebody calls you from 29. I got one the other day. "Hey motherfucker, don't ever call me again." I didn't call you. Somebody called you with my number, because you can do that now.
Right.
And that's what he does. And so he just unmercifully crucifies these guys and then posts YouTube videos about it. And it's hilarious.
Oh, I need to check that out.
Oh, it's a Hoge Hotel. And the funniest ones are the Nigerian scammers that want him to go to the Western Union. "Go to the Western Union and give me your MCTN number, and you get your $5 million settlement, And he's like, and he pretends to be an old lady. "Well, I'm right in the middle of my third bottle of Boone's Farm. So I guess I could hop on the old Zamboni, and he pretends to be from like Minnesota. And he goes, what do you drive? Are you in LA at the moment? LAX? Well, I don't want to be lax since you're at LAX. You know, did you hear what I did there? You know, he just drags this on for days. And these poor guys are just like, never call me again. And then, hello? And he calls him right back. And so I try to do the same thing. I'm not nearly as funny or successful, but I can get him going pretty good for a while. So I posted all about this guy's information, and then I try to call it the next day, and it's gone. The number's no good. The email comes back. It's
right.
Like, we have already destroyed that, but I'm sure he's moved on to the next victim, and he's got 1,000 more behind him because Gary probably loaded an app on his phone, and this guy says, well, there's Gary's profile picture, and I'll create a profile called Gary so-and-so, and here's his picture, and nobody will know the difference, and that's exactly what he did, and
right.
That's what these people do, and if you ever get the friend request, it's either porn or somebody trying to, you know, steal your information, or maybe it's a legitimate person that knows somebody that's trying to be your friend. I don't know.
Right.
But that's the main issue I have with social media is that we're not being very smart about how we use it. You know, it could be a great tool. It's, you know, without social media, you and I wouldn't know each other.
Mm-mm. Nope.
I wouldn't be in Wax Factory. Mm-mm. I wouldn't know Todd O'Mara. Mm-mm. I wouldn't know Jeff Rogers.
Never heard of him.
I don't know that. I think his name's Todd O'Mara. He's some Irish dude.
I don't know. I haven't thrown him under the bus in a while.
Yeah. Maybe it's time.
Fuck you, Todd. Carry on.
So, yeah. So, you know,
there's prick, yeah.
There's great aspects of social media. Really.
Well, I know you've listened to most of my shows, and it's the greatest, worst thing ever invented.
Yeah.
It really is. But what I want to talk about.
Yes.
Mr. Windmill. Excuse me, Windmill.
Comes in swinging. You
seem to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
On a little site, or a little page, excuse me. Or would it be a page or a group?
It's a group.
It's a group. Okay.
I think you have to join it.
Yeah,
They were stupid enough to...
You have to
I think Ryan invited me.
Yeah. And Ryan's quote is the greatest thing I ever did was invited you to Cover Band Central.
He brought the fox into the hen house.
He did.
Just wreaking havoc.
I have used Cover Band Central to promote this podcast, and that's it, because I do not have the patience to respond to those posts.
No.
I fucking can't.
Yeah, you got to have a few minutes.
I fucking can't do it.
I can't read all the comments because one post will have 200 comments in a few minutes, and every post is dumb. Every response is dumber than the one before it. You know, I was like, you guys really play music in a town somewhere? You what?
Now, before we rip this thing to shreds, I do like the site.
I do
the
too.
Group. I think it's cool.
I think there's some cool dudes in there too.
There's some really
good musicians.
There's some really good
musicians.
There's
some good videos, some talent.
But I think the group has something like 35,000 members.
Yeah.
And maybe 1,000 of them are cool.
Maybe.
And the other 34 are idiots.
Are bottom feeders, man. They're the tilapia of social media. They're eating shit, man. They're just shit eating. You know, what are you going to do with these people? You know.
Now, I will promote this episode on podcast or on Cover Band Central.
You might get some attention there. I don't know.
And I know I will, because I had a guy on there. One of the episodes I posted asked me who the fuck so and so was on one of my shows, and I went, "What kind of fucking question is that? Just listen to the damn episode. Yeah. You're either gonna like it or you're not." Right. But those of you that are on Cover Band Central that are listening to this that Tony and I do not know personally, before we rip you to shreds, we do like the site.
Yes.
Or the group, excuse me. It is cool. But guys, come the fuck on with this shit. How do you dress?
Yeah.
What should your drummer play? What the fuck is wrong with you people? How do you play music?
Or the latest one. I didn't buy a 150 watt tube amp, so I had to turn down so I could hear the singer. Hey man, you're doing it wrong. I hate to tell you, but you're doing it wrong. You should have bought a 250 watt tube amp. You should go home and you should turn it on 10 and park your face in front of it.
But these go to 11.
This one goes to 200. You know? I bought this 150 watt tube amp, and when I turn it on 10 and I stand in front of it, it makes all this squealing noise. How do we get it to stop, you know? God love you.
I just can't, dude.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand. And the reason I wanted to bring it up with you is because you're a genius at it. And Joe Stevens has named you the windmill.
Yeah, I'm the windmill.
You're the.
I just come in swinging.
Yeah, what did he say? You're the guy that goes in the mosh pit swinging your arms?
Yeah. He's getting windy in here.
Yeah.
He'll post pictures of windmills after one of my replies.
But I the reason I want to talk about it with you, obviously because you do it, because I appreciate it. You're calling people on their bullshit. That's what I appreciate about it.
So when Ryan first invited me into the group, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I was the same
Cover
way.
Band Center, and at first I'm thinking,
too.
hey, this is Louisville. And I'm like, none of these guys are from Louisville. This woman just posted a gig she's doing in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So my first question with her
Joyzy.
I was like, hey, do you advertise in Jersey? And her response was, yes. And I said, have you posted this invite anywhere else but here? Not yet. Okay, you realize this is like nationwide. I'm not fucking driving to New Jersey to see your shitty cover band. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? And she was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. So I'm like, I'm trying to help you. But then everybody jumps on and says, hey, man, what's wrong with advertising the band? That's not the point.
You're missing the point.
The point is, there are ways to advertise your band. Do I have to educate you on this seriously? Really?
There's a lot of people in that group that need to be educated.
Yeah. So why don't you call your friend who lives 3 states away and tell them to put a flyer for your band on the fucking telephone pole there, and let's see how many of those people show up to your gig 3 states away. You know, that's what you're doing. I mean, have you lost your mind? But they're like, any media, any advertisement's good advertisement. No, it's not. No, you just wasted a few minutes of your day that you could have spent doing something right. You know. And Ryan tries to educate him, and I try to educate him, and they just like, you're just a dumbass, and you don't know, and you're mean. Okay, I'm not in here to be mean. I am now, but I wasn't.
Now it's just funny.
But now I'm having fun. Did you see the one where one of the guys replied, and his name's Tom Jones? All right, so it was going on. All right, here's the post. The guy says, fuck you guys, you bunch of judgmental pricks. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm out of here. And I posted and I had to ask Aiden what it was, if it was a GIF or a GIF. It's a GIF. I don't know. It's the English language. It could be either.
It could be either.
And I posted one, and it was a crybaby. And it got a couple of laughs. And the guy who posted it liked it. And I was like, everything okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm just getting really aggravated with this shit. Well, then Tom Jones post something, and I don't remember what he posted, but my reply to him was, it's not unusual. And then I laughed out loud at myself and posted that. And then another guy posts a meme right underneath it that says, I don't sing Tom Jones songs, but when I do, it's not unusual. And then we just went off, and this guy got mad as shit after a while. And I'm just like, you're 70 years old, you said, or something like that, and your name's Tom Jones, and you're getting mad now? You've had to been hearing this shit for 60 years, And he's like,
how many motherfuckers sing the O'Reilly Auto Parts tune to me?
Exactly. So it's like, anyway, don't get. And then Nick McElwain was in on it, and I guess he figured, well, I'm not going to go toe to toe with Tony because he's an asshole, and I'll just start giving Nick shit, and he starts giving Nick shit, and Nick's just like, whatever, dude, I don't give a shit, whatever. And I'm just in here having fun, and he's like, don't be that guy, and I said, yeah, Nick, don't be me, So. But the very first post that I saw on Cover Band Central, which I had to talk about it, was a guy that says, hey, I went into this bar. And he's talking about promoting his band.
Right.
I went to this bar. I told the bar owner, this is how much money I want to make. And he agreed to give me half that. And so, I said, okay, first time in, I'll let you do, I'll go half. And he tells this long story about all the shit that they did, and they ate a nice steak dinner, and then he gets up there and they slay it, and the place is packed, and at the end of the night, the owner says, I'll give you your original price, and hands me 20 crisp $100 bills. And I left. Happy man. And somebody said, you made $2,000 at a bar? So I'm thinking, this story's total bullshit, complete, utter nonsense, but let me take 2 seconds out of my day to find out what this guy's all about. Hit his profile. Oh, I see he's in a band called Poor Man's Band. Hit their page. There's their page. There's their picture. And I'm like, so I take a picture, their picture, off their page and posted in Cover Band Central and says, "This is your $2,000 band? Are you fucking serious? It's duct tape on a kick drum." And your guitar player's wearing cargo shorts and an American flag t-shirt. You guys get $2,000? So he was
bullshit meter going off.
He was like, "Oh, that picture was taken years ago." And I said, "That picture was postmarked Tuesday. You posted it Tuesday." And he was like, "Well, what?" And I said, "Well, what? No. I said, "Look, there's another. That same picture is in another picture with a date on the picture of last week." I said, "So this picture's a week old." I said, "What are you trying to do?" And he was like, "Man, Tony, you're the kind of guy that when his friend gets a blowjob, you get all pissed off and you're jealous about it instead of just."
I remember this. I do remember this now. Yes.
So it goes on for a while. I said, "Hey, dude, just admit that you're lying, and everybody will just walk away happy. You know, it's so we won't judge you. We understand. We get it. You want to be successful. I wish you the best success. This is the video that you shared on YouTube of your $2,000 band, and they're terrible." And I posted the link on YouTube. Well, he yanks the video.
Oh, of course he does.
Of course he does. So I'm like, and he's some like car dealer in Arkansas or some shit. So I'm like, okay.
If I got a deal for you.
It just keeps going on. Finally, I get a message from the venue. They messaged me. And they said, somebody screenshot it. Some site called Cover Band Central. And you're arguing with this guy. And he says, "So I appreciate what you're doing. And here's the deal. We hired his band. We paid him $600. They brought nobody. We'll never book them again. They're terrible. And we don't even serve steak."
I didn't know that part.
So at that point, I'm like,
wait, right here.
Yeah. So I'm back on Cover Band Central. "Hey, bro, just got a message from the venue. You sure you don't want to come clean? I'm giving you the opportunity." And he posts back, "Hey, listen, it was just a feel-good story. I'm just trying to make everybody happy. A lot of people loved it. I don't know why you don't. Let's just leave it at that." And then a bunch of people were like, "Hey, man, great job for what you do, man. $2,000. That's a great..." I'm like, all right, I did what I had to do. I'm out. These rest of these idiots that think he's for real, you're never gonna educate them.
No.
No.
And
then part of me thinks, why are we trying to educate these people? They could be competition one day. I would rather go up against them. It's like the singing contest, the Voice and American Idol, and you're trying to strategize. I hope this guy makes it to the end because I'm gonna beat his ass in the finals. Kind of thing, But. And the ones that say, I want to compete against the best. Bullshit.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You want to win. Yeah. Or you wouldn't be in a contest.
Right.
And if you don't want to win, what the fuck are you doing in a contest?
Sure.
So, yeah. So that was...
sandwiches.
Yeah. Divinity exposure.
Divinity exposure sandwiches.
But I'm like, Cover Band Central has become that. Because that's how it started. And I'm like, this guy is total bullshit, And then it's a lot more of that, And then a whole lot of it was like, here's my band from last weekend. But give me your feedback.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, really? You're not going to get good feedback, even if you're good.
Nope.
Somebody's going to be an asshole.
Absolutely.
And I'm just telling you that for your own good. And they're like, well, you're the asshole. It's like, no, I didn't say anything about your band. I'm just telling you shit.
I'm just calling in on your bullshit. I don't do this on the show very often. There are 46,000 members in Cover Band Central.
Mm.
Because you cannot see it. I am actually looking at the page right now. First...
It's gold.
Jesus Christ. First post. Thou shalt not play a kick drum note without a bass guitar note.
Oh, yeah. I read that one. How many comments?
87.
That's all?
That's it.
I figured I'd have 1,000 by now.
I will tell you from a drummer's perspective, whoever this guy is can go fuck himself.
Yeah. How do you... All right, let's...
Argue with me on this.
Have you heard Keep Your Hands to Yourself? How's the song start?
Yep.
Have you heard I Am Iron Man? Come on.
Why do the musos at the local open mic night get annoyed when I inform them that playing my guitar and singing qualifies as being a multi-instrumentalist?
Oh, God. He's playing a guitar.
I can't with this shit.
What about the? I saw one of the dudes who's like from the Philippines or something, and he's got a kick drum, a little toy drum kit that's strapped to his back, and it's got these levers on it with the sticks and everything. And he plays some song in his native language, and he kills it. He's moving around, and it's playing the drums, and he's playing the guitar, and I'm like, that guy's a multi-instrumentalist.
That dude's a guy. Yeah, that dude's got it. Let's do one more. So just for the hell of it,
you'll probably find one that says, how much should I charge? Or
I see those.
If I book the band and do all the work and get all the contracts signed and all that, should I take an extra percentage off the top? And
yes,
and everybody's like equal pay, and I'm like, equal pay for equal work? How's that?
Yeah, no,
I've done the contracts. I've booked the band. I've dealt with the client. I've dealt with the bar owner. I have stories about Mo from New Directions, which I will say openly, and that guy, I almost lost my mind over that dude. So yes, I will gladly let somebody take a percentage of the cut off the top to do all that freaking work, so I don't have to. Thank you.
No,
I'll show up. I promise not to show up 1 minute before the gig's supposed to start, put my guitar on, bitch about the monitor mix, and then cause us to be late. I'll promise not to be that guy.
Yeah, no. I put my phone down. There was just too much to choose from. My ADD was kicking in. I don't understand, and why I wanted to bring it up with you, because I find it interesting. Actually, I find it fascinating. I don't understand how people can enter into adulthood doing anything. I don't give a shit if it's playing music, fixing cars, being an IT person. How can you enter into adulthood and be that fucking stupid? Man, I don't get it.
Well, here's another.
And thing. I'm not saying I'm a genius.
No. I as I was driving here today, I'm passing. All right, so I like to drive fast because everybody knows I'm an asshole, and part of being an asshole is you gotta drive fast, man. It is what it is. And as I'm weaving through traffic, come on, people, seriously, shit, And I'm thinking every slow person I pass, I'm thinking that guy's got to be dumb. Because he is so freaked out right now to operate this car. He's got to be thinking, I'm going to die, because he's so stupid he can't figure out, left foot, right foot, which one goes on the gas, both wheels on the steering wheel. He's got the radio going. Or the ones that are flying down the highway 70 miles an hour and they got their cell phone out and they're on the internet, or texting somebody because their shit's so fucking important that they got to almost kill everybody.
Oh, the one I saw, before you finish that thought, straight the fuck up. About a week ago, I saw a dude on a motorcycle riding. He wasn't sitting at a stoplight. Riding his motorcycle on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
Texting.
That's genius.
And these fucking kidding me?
These are the people all around you. As you navigate through life in your personal bubble space, you're up against these people constantly.
Yep.
And they're also on the internet. So that's how I don't know how anybody gets through life at all, I mean, I've gone to Kroger before, gone to the U-Scan, which, genius move on their part. Let's let them scan their own shit and bag it themselves and get the fuck out of my store, And I'd go through that line because I don't feel like waiting on something. And I don't necessarily need her to touch on my shit before it goes in the bag, the girl working there or the dude. And I don't want them to look at what I bought, I went to Meijer one time and I'm like, the girl's asking me about everything I bought. Does this taste good? No, it tastes like dog shit. That's why I bought it. I've never had these before. How do you eat them? Well, you unhinge your jaw and you stick the whole bag in. What do you want me to say to this? What could possibly be my reply to this? There's directions on the bag.
There are directions on the bag.
They tell you how to cook it. And it says microwaves in 1 minute.
And it also says serving suggestion.
You could mix it with shit.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, even a can of soup has got ideas. You buy a can of broccoli cheese soup and it's got some ideas about how you can make some more broccoli cheese soup with that shit. You don't necessarily heat it and eat it, but if that's what you want to do, it's in the can. And there's directions on how to do it, And I'm like, I've seen them struggling, to scan shit, And one guy's got one thing in his hand that he's already scanned and he hadn't put it in the bag yet. He's already picked up the other thing. He's getting ready to scan it. And the thing says, put that first shit in the bag. before you scan that next shit. That's what it ought to say. You're finna get kicked out of the store, and he's looking and he's like, puts the wrong one in the bag, and then the lady, and I'm like, hey dude, that cart's gonna stop now because they got those things on the wheels that'll stop it, and you're gonna look like an idiot. And you take it, it's telling you take that thing back out of the bag and put it back over here and put the thing in your left hand in the bag and then scan that right hand, and he's like, oh, I got it. We're good now. It's all clear to me now. I was like, oh, I want to be driving on the road with you in a few minutes. I'm just going to stay here for a while.
I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to go where's the magazine section?
Yeah.
I got it.
Go find something to eat. Go have a coffee somewhere,
Coffee? Yes. What?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, you were thinking when you were driving here.
Yeah, that we're surrounded by morons.
Oh, absolutely.
And those are the same morons that are on the internet, and they're sharing your personal internet space, and you're navigating through Cover Band Central. Hey man, all the guys on Cover Band Central, if you think you're an idiot, you might be the one. If you don't think you're an idiot, then good for you, because you shouldn't, because you probably got a little bit more brain cells than the guy who's like, I wonder if he's talking about me. Yes, I probably am. The one that thinks I'm talking about the other guy, I like you. We're in this together, buddy. You and me. We're gonna take over the world here.
There's a guy that I know. I don't want to throw him under the bus because literally. It's the first one. He's literally an innocent bystander. We're not really friends. We're acquaintances. But I have to deal with him on a regular basis. That's all I'm going to say. He's 41.
Okay.
Every time I see him, he's either talking to me or somebody else or a multitude of people about dating. You're 40 and you haven't fucking figured this out by now.
Was he asking for advice?
Oh, you name it. Dating advice, sexual advice, love advice. When is it too soon to say I love you? How fucking old are you?
Well, you don't need to ask anybody that. It's Google.
Fuck you.
You can search that shit in the comfort of your own home and probably find a porn site in the process.
True. You get my point.
And there's your afternoon.
Yeah. But you get my point. I'm going, how are you?
Yeah. How'd you make it this far?
How did you get this far in life?
Yeah.
And you don't know that. I'm not, again, self-thrower under busser person right here. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but take 5 seconds and fucking think about something. I don't. That drives me batshit.
I deal with that a lot. I talk to people about that a lot. It's the dumbing down, the play to the lowest common denominator factor that we always do. I had somebody ask me. I used to work for the school system here, and I had somebody ask me one time. We know what you guys are doing for the underprivileged kids and for the kids who need help. What are you doing for the really smart kids that don't need any help? Because you can't just say, well, they'll be fine. That's not fair to them. They need programs to challenge them further. If you're challenging the ones that need to be challenged, that you need to challenge all of them. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's because we try to black box everything. We try to compartmentalize everything. Everybody tries to do that, put it in their own little comfort zone, the things they recognize, That's why Mac users tend to use Mac. That's why I still own an iPhone and not an Android, even though I have I graduated to a Galaxy Tab. So I try to have both. People used to say, what are you, a Windows guy or are you a Mac guy? And I'm like, yes, I own one of each and I own a Linux box because I have to, because if somebody asks me about a certain technology at some point down the road and I want a job that pays more money, it's helpful to know this kind of thing. But I'm not one of these Linux nerds that, and I hate to say that because some of them really are nerds though.
Hey, I'm a drum nerd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guitar nerd, so and an IT nerd. But it's just one of those things where there's nothing wrong with learning everything, but people try to compartmentalize and black box everything instead of critically think about each situation.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
fine to draw from previous experiences.
Absolutely.
When I see this situation happen in the past, I did this. May not work this time, but I'm thinking about it.
Right.
And you got to think quick. You got to make, quick decisions. And other people are just like, why can't somebody just figure this shit out for me so I don't have to deal with it at all? And that's what that's kind of what we deal with as a society for the most part, and that's not a political statement.
No,
and that's not a religious statement or anything
I call
else.
that a matter of observation because it is.
But it's true.
Look around.
That's why politicians get away with what they get away with. That's why religions get away with what they get away with, because people need that. Some people need somebody to tell them what to do. This is what I want you. The Catholic Church, being a Catholic, you don't have to know shit. We're going to tell you everything to say. As soon as you walk in the door to the time you leave, you just have to repeat what we say. It's all good. We got you. We're thinking about you. That's how they, that's an easy way to get membership. Hey, come to the church. You got to stand up, kneel down, sit down, some shit.
Up, down, up, down.
But you just repeat after me. All right, gotcha. This is easy. So
I like easy.
Yeah, it was good. And I'm not saying all Catholics are dumb, because that would mean that I would be dumb. Even though I don't go to church anymore. My dad asked me one time why I stopped going to church, and I was like, I've pretty much learned everything they're going to teach me. I now have to apply it. And I have to make the decision whether or not I want to apply it. But, every Advent season, it's the same. There's only one Bible.
True.
I could go to church and hear different perspectives, and that's fine. I'm not into it anymore at this point. I'm into other things now. So, hey, am I a bad person? Do I lead a bad life?
You're fucking horrible,
Have I
Tony.
disappointed you? And my dad's
horrible.
Do what the fuck you want, man. You're an adult. I just asked you. God damn, you're going into this whole
question.
Just ask you that question, you dipshit.
You're going through a diatribe.
I asked you what time it was. You're telling me how to build a goddamn clock. So.
God, I love you. You make me happy. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. So let's move on to what's the next section. I don't even fucking know. It's my own damn show.
It's your show, man.
Stories from the stage.
Stories from the stage. So I don't even know where to begin. So here's the deal. I never toured or anything. I've never been on some tour like
Hey kids, I'm gonna go outside and smoke. Tony's just gonna talk. I'm out. See you later. See the red button over there? Just hit that when
I'll
you're
hit that
done.
when I'm done. So this one time at band camp,
I did do that with a flute.
I was never in band camp. We didn't have I went to poor schools. Remember, we couldn't afford instruments. We would have been the band. We would have been the marching band with kazoos. And none of us could sing. We'd have to bring our own kazoo. We don't look like a bunch of idiots out there walking in circles.
Okay, anyway.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of thought about this one too because I don't really know. There's a couple I could, some self-deprecating, some not. But
listen, we've all done a bunch of shows, and every musician I've had on here, I shouldn't say every, most of them have struggled with this one. I always tell them the same thing: pick one or two that are in the front of your head that stick out like a fucking light bulb.
Well, so somebody asked me one time, "Hey man, how come you don't drink when you play?" I was like, "Well, I do occasionally, but not a lot." Why not? Because of this. This is the first story. So it was I was in Rough Draft. So I talked about them. That was the band I was at in college. That's the band that we started off as a wedding band and moved to a bar band.
Yeah.
We weren't very bright.
Yeah.
We had
Good
the
job.
best of intentions.
Good job. Way to go.
And, full circle.
Yeah.
And so
I have the world in the palm of my hand, but I don't want it. You can have it back.
yeah, you can have it back because I want to be cool. I want to be cool and poor instead of successful. And although I wasn't going to do this for a living, my very first my dad came out to see us at TK's one time when I was in this band.
Right.
And that later that night, and it was funny. It was so out of place. My mom and dad, they were looking around like, "The fuck is this?" And I get home and I said, "What'd you think?" And he was like, "Don't quit your day job." And I was like, "Well, we were that bad?" He goes, "No, I'm just telling you, don't quit your day." He goes, "Listen, is that what you want to do for a living?" I said, "I don't know, maybe." He goes, "With that group of guys, is that it? And I said, "Well, I don't know." And he was like, "'Cause, you guys are having fun, and you could tell you're having fun."
Right.
He goes, "But are you being the best musician you can be in that band?" And I said, "Well, no." And he was like, "Don't quit your day job." He goes, "Because those guys are having fun, and they're not doing this for a living." And I was like, damn. He didn't tell me I sucked. He told me reality,
Yep.
My dad was always a realist, and I, we'd argue over the glasses. I'm the little bit more pessimistic realist. So my the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. My dad goes, "You two are arguing over a glass of piss." You realize that, right? And I always draw from that because he was a realist. He's like, neither one of those things matter, you know. But
glass with some fucking water in it.
So anyway, so I'm playing in this band, and we're playing at Yogi's, which I talked about. That's the Murph thing we did, even though this was a paying gig later. And this girl shows up, who was a friend of ours.
Always involve a girl.
And she got a new job, and she's happy. And it's shots. You guys want shots? Well, what are you getting? You know. And then I had a friend from college also there with a couple other friends, and they're like, "Oh, they're buying shots for the band. We're going to buy shots for the band." So now everybody's just buying shots, and there's just shot after shot. There's every shot you can think of. They were making shit up, and what the hell is this?
They got liquor in it. Pour it in a cup.
It was like, this is a rattlesnake. What the hell's it got in it? Oh, it's kind of good. Can I have 12 more? And my dumb ass is like, I'm drinking everything, And keep in mind, this is in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, when many bars in town in Louisville would give the band free beer by the pitcher. So I'm drinking beer out of the pitcher, as hard as I can. Most people have like 3 bottles of beer. I got 3 empty pitchers on my amp. I'm just putting it away. And so at this point, it's halfway through the gig, and I'm hammered. I mean, I'm sure drool's coming out of my mouth and shit. I'm almost non-functioning at this point.
You're smammered.
And at one point, I'm playing, and I don't even know what song we're doing. I think we were doing like a Wild Thing or something.
Right.
And the band's going, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and they're like, "No, hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Yeah," I'm kicking ass. And then the song's over, and I realized I played that whole song in G. The rest of the band was playing it in A.
They were trying to tell you the chord.
They were telling me the key, and I'm playing
it
around. I'm just fucking, Wild Thing. And I'm singing, "You make my meat swing." I'm just like making up lyrics at that point. And
make my meat swing.
And it just went downhill from there. And so a friend of mine that I had gone to high school with had shown up to the gig with a 4-track recorder. And he had tapped into the board, and he recorded this debacle.
Oy.
And he calls me up and he goes, "Hey man, I got the recording from last night. You want to hear it?" I said, yeah, I'll come over. I went over to his house, and I was horrified. I was just horrified. I'm like, oh my, this has to be destroyed immediately. Are there any other copies of this? So then the drummer calls a meeting before the gig. We all meet over at the bass player's house, and he's like, "If you motherfuckers ever pull a shit like that again, I swear to God, I'll fire every one of you." I mean, he was the only one that didn't get hammered drunk.
Right.
We were all like, "Oh, yes, you're 100% right." So we go to the gig. Sober. We're all drinking water. We're all pretty hungover anyway. We're all drinking water. And we play the first set, and I look out, and I see a friend of mine who's, unfortunately, he's passed away, Chris Rogers. A lot of people know him. He worked at Dixie Music, and, all the guys that worked at Dixie know Chris and everything. And I used to go into Dixie Music, and he would always hand me a guitar and sit down and say, "Show me something new."
Right.
And he and I would show each other something new. It was great. And so I see him. I was like, "Well, what the hell is he doing here? He never comes out and sees me play, So we finished the set, and I go, "Hey, what's up?" I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Yeah, man," he said, "I want to come by. We're going to see a late movie at Showcase," which is a Costco now on Barstown Road. We're going to see a late movie or whatever. I thought we'd whip in real quick and see your first set, And he said, "Man, you guys sound really good." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "Well, I got to tell you, part of the reason why I'm here is because somebody came into the shop today and said, you guys have got to go see Tony Clark's band. They're the worst band in the history of bands."
Oh.
They had been there Friday night, and they had watched this. And apparently at one point, somebody said, "You guys know Juke Box Hero?" And I, by myself, was trying to play it. And the band was looking at me like, "The fuck's he doing?" And I don't remember. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember. So at that point, I'm like, all right, no more alcohol.
Ever.
For me, ever. So I'll do... So we were playing, Wax Factory was playing at Gersel's, and one of Jessica's friends was like, "You want a shot of bourbon or something?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he brings me back this giant glass of bourbon. And I'm like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" And, and Jessica's like, "Don't get him drunk." Bad things happen,
Bad things happen to Tony when he's
because I
drunk.
told him that story. So, and at one point, I'm thinking, I'm fine. I just had a shot of bourbon. I'm good, and I hardly ever drink. And I look down, and I had dropped my guitar pick, and I go to pick it up, and I realize oh, my depth perception is off. I don't know where the floor is. So Ryan goes, you okay? I said, I'm fine. And I'm just thinking, maintain. You'll get through this. And one song into it, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm back. But the first song was like, I'm not sure if I could do this, So I'm real leery about that because that just haunts me. That I'm insecure, so I don't like to suck.
No, I get it.
Especially when it's self-induced.
No, I get it. There's many reasons I don't drink, but the biggest reason I don't drink on stage is when I was a kid, I used to sneak into all these rock clubs in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. I saw fucking everybody. I was smart enough or dumb enough, depending on your perspective, to make friends with people that could get me in. And I would go see all these bands, and then I saw Kix, I saw Yngwie, I saw Warren, I saw Slam and Gladys, I saw Winger, I saw all these fucking bands back in the day. And I would see all the openers that would eventually go on to form other bands and be bigger bands. And I can't remember all of them, but the point I'm getting at is they would be fucking hammered and sound like shit. And I'm thinking I remember clearly going, I'm in this club legally. I could get in a lot of trouble. My friends could get in a lot of trouble. And you motherfuckers are sucking. I will never do that. And then, fast forward, once I started doing all my flashy bullshit, can you imagine me trying that drunk?
Oh yeah.
I'd kill my fucking self.
Everywhere, yeah.
Ugh, it'd be awful.
So I'll drink a little bit, and it's you just gotta know when to stop, and that's hard for a lot of people because I know some musicians that are recovering, and my brother had a bit of a drinking problem, so he was functional. He was functional, and I'm admitting it. I'm saying it now because rest in peace, But he did, and he'd be the first to admit. He used to tell me all the time, "I'm a functioning alcoholic. I'm a high functioning alcoholic. I can do a lot of shit drunk." And but God love him. He drank a lot. And I
didn't know that.
I didn't, and I had uncles, that had drinking problems and whatnot, and so I always thought about that in the back of my mind. I don't want this to be a problem, or whatever,
right?
But I love bourbon. I love my bourbon. I'll drink bourbon anytime.
That's why you and Todd get along.
I love bourbon. And Todd and I like a lot of the same. We've actually strolled the lanes of Total Wine together like a couple of school kids at the chocolate factory. Oh my goodness, look at the bourbons, once. He brought me back a 12-pack of Yingling or something before you could get it.
Stop.
We were walking up and down the aisles of Total Wine in heaven, This is like,
Please tell me you were holding hands.
That would be awesome if we did. Todd, when you hear this, will you call me up and we'll go to Total Wine and hold hands, and somebody has to film it, and we'll buy a Suburban.
I'm going because I will film that shit.
Yes, because that would be fun.
Todd, you're challenged, buddy.
Yes. So.
Oh fuck.
So yeah. So that's that's my. I mean, I could talk about when I almost killed my Rudy and me, and when we were dating, I wrecked her car on the way back from Lexington, and she made me get in the back seat and drive home the rest of the way in her wrecked car, and she called me everything but a white man on the way home. I was so defeated, but I fixed her car, and she still married me. Sorry, maybe she's not so smart. Maybe she's got some judgment issues. I don't know.
You better stop because you have to sleep with her. I'm not editing that out.
Yeah. Now I'm looking forward to it. When's that boy of mine out of the house? He has radar. I don't know. All kids must. He'd be down in the basement, and on his video games with headphones on, and I'm like, hey, he's downstairs. Mm-hmm. And then 2 seconds later, he's, what are y'all doing in there? Why's the door shut? Why's the door locked? What, do you got a light on down there that says when we're going to get intimate? Between him and the dog, It's like, what are we going to do, So
Stacy's going to get mad at me, but I don't care. When Ashley lived with us, we had like a 20-minute window. Ashley fell asleep on the couch. We go in the bedroom, shut the door, and lock it. And the rule was, if our bedroom door is shut, don't knock on it. Whatever happens after that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
That was Stacy's warning to Ashley, because you know me, I don't know how to not run this hole in my face. So she's asleep, and I was like, man, same thing. Hey, come on, she's asleep, let's go. Go in there and shut the door. And now, 2 minutes later,
yep.
What are y'all doing? I got to show you the cat's paw. What are y'all doing? And Stacy starts giggling, and I said, I can't take it. And I said, I'm about to fuck your mom. That's what I'm doing.
See, I'm sure there's
The
gonna
knocking stopped.
I'm sure there's going to be some therapy in my son's future anyway, but I don't want to add that much.
Oh,
to his.
it was that. It was. Come on, dude. I gave you the rule. We told you what. No,
Yeah.
Don't knock on the door if it's closed.
We never made the rule, but then I'd have to go out and sit in the same room with him, and he'd be looking at me with that look like, I know. And I'd be like, it's kind of uncomfortable now, and I know,
I know what you do.
He likes to mess with me as much as she does. We all like to mess with each other.
Oh, you guys are great together.
I used to put like tape, the packing tape. Mm-hmm. I would tape the door up right at face level, and hey, Aiden, come in here. I need to show you something. He'd go run in, face tape full of. So
he was tape face before tape face was tape face.
So I tape face the hell out of that kid, and he was like always trying to pay me back, and I'd always. Nope, I see it, and he's So one time, and this was years ago, and he didn't even try. So this was what's so great about it. I come out of the closet. I'd gone into the walk-in closet for something. And
you totally just said I come out of the closet.
Yeah. Oh well. It's on podcast now. You hear that, Cover Band Central? You've got ammo.
Now you got dirt.
So I come out of the walk-in closet, and he is on the other side with this armoire there, and he's hiding behind it. He's got this like toy gun, and he comes out and fires the toy gun and yells some, sounds like Arabic or something. I don't know what the hell it was, and literally, I almost like soiled myself. I screamed. And I remember hearing a girl scream, and then I realized that was me
you.
screaming like a girl, like high pitched, like I didn't know I could hit that note. I got to tap into that for future.
Note to self: after I clean up, I need to work on that note.
Yeah, work on that scream because that was pretty good. And I did. I screamed, and he kind of, and he's like, I got him. And it took him a few minutes. I got him. And he runs out there. I got him. My life is complete. I finally got him. So yeah,
that's awesome. All right, so let's move on to what are you listening to?
All right, well.
Really? You motherfuckers listen to my show. You know there's music coming in and still start talking.
Yeah, you gotta edit it.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, no. As long as you do that face again, I'm definitely not editing it.
So I have to look at my phone. All right, so I will admit, all right, I am so doing acoustic shows with Jessica for a while. Mm-hmm. Before we got insanely busy with everything else, all the other stuff we're doing. There was this quest for finding songs that we could do together,
right?
And I didn't want her to be saddled with all the vocal stuff. I thought I need to sing some more. I sing like 4 tunes all night. So, of course, now they got me singing the Grease.
Oh yeah. Yep, I forgot about that.
Which is fine, but it's a little out of my range.
Yeah,
so I'm trying.
I'm pretty in tune, and I was gonna say in depth, wrong word. I'm pretty. In tune, the wrong word too. I know when something's out of tune. I don't know how to fix it, but I know when it's out of tune. I don't have to guess and go, is that right or is that wrong? Like, I immediately know. I don't know how to fix it, but I know. And when I saw you guys, I don't remember, because we saw you 2 nights in a row when my dad was here. So I don't remember if it was at the Paddocks or at Blind Squirrel, but when you sang it, you killed it.
Oh, I don't know. Well, okay.
I thought you did.
It's just a little, ever so slightly out of my range in parts, and I have to go falsetto on everything. So it's a control thing that I'm still learning.
Right.
When Chris Stapleton does that crazy run in Tennessee Whiskey that I can't do because he's such a genius badass.
He's Chris fucking Stapleton.
And I don't feel bad because he's Chris
fucking Stapleton.
You know what I mean? So, but
that dude's a monster.
So I listen to a lot of pop stuff that I normally wouldn't listen to, and I found this guy named Shawn Mendes. I don't know if you know who he is.
I know who he is. Yep.
And There's Nothing Holding Me Back. A great tune.
Yeah.
And then right after that, and I needed to look it up because I haven't looked it up yet, but there's a song right after that on his album called Ruin. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like if John Mayer had a good voice. And I say that because I don't really like John Mayer's voice, and I don't like to watch him sing because he makes really weird faces when he sings. Great guitar player. And I like his songs. But this sounds like if John Mayer had a great singing voice and he was young, a young kid. That's what it reminds me of. And maybe I'll find out that John Mayer wrote this tune. I don't know. But it sure sounds like he did.
Because John Mayer's a fucking monster, too.
It's like one of the better songs. So anyway, I'm listening to that. And I'm listening to everything from that to the original Blackberry Smoke. What is it? One Horse Town, I think is the name of it.
I'm looking off in the distance. Nobody can see me because I'm trying to remember. That rings a bell. I think that's right. That sounds right.
And that's that roots rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. And so that prompted me to listen to a guy named Will Hoge, who has a song called My Favorite Mistake or something, or My Favorite, whatever. I have to think of the song. But anyway, it's that kind of stuff I like. I mean, it's that guitar-oriented,
borderline singer-songwriter pop stuff.
Yeah. And of course, I listen to Chris Stapleton and honestly, Carl Stuck does a thing.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's some crazy great singer, songwriter, guitar player guy. That
I love me some Carl.
Yeah. So and that was the first time I was asked to fill in for him for Full Contact Karaoke. I'm like, no, what? No. And they're like, well, he doesn't really sing. Yeah, he does. No. He plays the guitar parts because it's karaoke, and I'm like, what if nobody shows up? Somebody has to sing. And oh, you can do it. No, I've seen Carl. I've been at the Exchange eating a sandwich, watching him sing, thinking, no.
No,
not doing that. I'm not even going to try. I mean, and I asked him one time. I reached out to him and said, "Would you be interested in joining Headcase?" When I was looking for a singer, and he tells me, "Oh, I don't think," in a nice way. He was a very nice, gracious no, but it was like, "Oh, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I'm good enough for that." I'm like, bullshit. But thank you for not saying fuck you, no. So, but. He posts stuff on Facebook all the time about new music discoveries. And I'll usually hit that and go look for it.
Yeah, he's doing the 52 weeks of music.
Yeah. So I got the Apple Music family plan, and I'll go out and just download stuff and hope that whoever the artists are getting paid for me using that service. And unlike Spotify and some of the others where they don't make, my song was downloaded 100,000 times and I made 52 cents. That kind of thing.
Did you see... I don't remember if I posted it or texted it to somebody because my memory sucks, but there was a thing that Peter Frampton put on Twitter about
maybe that's what I was referencing. Was that?
Yeah, he hit Baby I Love Your Way. 15 million streams. He made $1,700.
Oh, that's
15
awful.
Million streams, $1,700. He went to the government. He took members of ASCAP and BMI and they went to the government. And I don't remember exactly what his tweet said, but basically he said their jaws hit the floor and said, "Will you repeat that?" Now I don't know what happened since.
Oh, it'd be nice if something positive happened. But speaking of Frampton, so I was a Frampton fan. I still am, and I remember my sister, who's 10 years older than me, always had these albums. She had the Eagles, but she had Bread. And I remember the first time I'd ever heard Build Me Up Buttercup and all these other pop songs that a teeny bopper girl would listen to in the 70s. And then I'm looking at her albums and there's a bunch of that stuff, and then I find this Frampton Comes Alive. Who's this guy?
Right.
So I put it on and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I get to all these other tunes and the talk box and stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, what the mind blown.
Fuck is that? Yeah.
And I snagged it. I stole it. That was my album now. And
sorry about your luck.
Do you feel like we do? And I'm like, what's he saying? And I listened to the hell out of that. And then I'm telling a buddy of mine about it, and he was like, "Oh, I got an album, but my brother let me listen to. Man, you need to check it out. I'll bring it over to the house." And he rides his bicycle back over to the house because we're kids, and he hands me Van Halen 1. And I look at the back, and I'm like, "Who's the dude in the spandex?"
Right.
And I'm not thinking much of it, and I take it in and listen to it, and we listen to Running with the Devil, and I'm like, oh wow, that's good, that's really good. I think I could play that. I got that solo. I think I could play that solo right now, and then Eruption. While I'm sitting there bragging about how I can play the solo to Running with the Devil, Eruption comes on, and I'm like, what? Wait, whoop. So I wore that out, and it's not even my record going back because you had to lift the needle up.
Yeah,
because I'm an old dude, and
put the needle on the record.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then somebody said, hey, have you heard Ozzy Osbourne? There's an album that's got, and I was like, Blizzard of Oz or whatever, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, and my mom comes in the room at one point, and Diary of a Madman was on one of the albums that I got, and it's and she comes in, she goes, turn that devil music off right now. And I'm thinking, I'm listening to all kinds of shit like this now.
It's over.
This is what the cool kids do. They listen to shit, they piss their parents off.
Oh, yeah.
Because up to this point, my dad's been like, I don't give a shit what you listen to. That's great. That guy's pretty good on the guitar, So I finally found something they hated, But,
you were in.
I was in, But yeah, the Frampton Comes Alive, I listened to that song a million times, So.
Yeah, but it's pretty sad when you realize the state of the industry now.
Well, yeah, and what about all the blues guys back in the day that got no money at all, and they wrote songs that you can hear in every fucking rock tune today. Led Zeppelin's first album was a bunch of blues songs that maybe some of those guys didn't get paid for. It's nuts. Or the guys that sell the rights to their song for hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean?
Hundreds of dollars.
At the time, it's like $300 for your song. Hell yeah! And the dude that's got the song has made $70,000 the first time he got a royalty check. And I'm like, what?
No, it's a shitty industry. It always has. Business side. Industry it always has been, and it's I don't even call it an industry anymore. You're either lucky or you're not.
But not to go back and repeat anything from social media issues, but YouTube has given that vehicle for people to be discovered. Even the yodeling at Walmart kid was on the Country Music Award show or whatever the other day. Of course, I don't know what the kid's name is because he's the Walmart yodeling kid.
I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, my son was like, not this kid. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he shows me the video. I have never seen it. And sure enough, he's yodeling Hank Williams' Lovesick Blues in a Walmart, and somebody filmed it, and he's gotten famous now. So there's, and then who was it? Go
viral.
I can't. Ingrid Michaelson. You know who she is? Mm-mm. She's a singer songwriter. She's great, and she put out her first album on her own. Social media caught on, and
No, and again, that goes back to what I said. It's the greatest, worst thing ever invented, because you can, if you use it the right way, there's many more opportunities than there ever has been. Yeah. And I was just having a conversation the other day about this. The problem with that is a guy like me, and I'm not crying, it's a fact. I'm 43. I play drums kind of weird. Kids in their 17, 18, 19, they don't give a fuck about me. And it's okay. I've accepted it. I'm cool with it. But that's the catch-22. Yes, it's easier now than it ever has been to, quote, get discovered and have people see your shit. The problem is, where's the fucking demographic?
Yeah.
Because if you're not 20, you're not reaching the 15, 16, 17-year-olds. 15, 16, 17-year-olds don't give a fuck about a dude like me that can, quote, spin his sticks and hit hard. Nobody fucking cares about that shit.
No, every time we play Gersels at the end of the night when the place is packed at, 1 in the morning or whatever.
And what, 21 to 23?
Yeah, and they were there. They were not there to see us, but when they came into the room at 12 o'clock or whatever, they're like, oh, yeah, I like these guys. Let's stick around, which is great for us. It makes us happy, and I love playing there for that reason. But they, at the same time, I know half of them out there, if not more, are like, when is that old fuck getting off the stage so I can get on the stage and dance?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Same way at Baxter's. When we play Baxter's.
Oh, yeah.
Baxter's is
that's
the same way.
Well, when is that old guy going to get off the stage? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm staying on here as long as I can, because I know you want up here. And I've actually had girls. Now, back in the day, and Rudy knows this because she almost kicked the shit out of a girl that was flashing her boobs at me at Butchertown Pub one night. She was going to climb the rock wall and just slam this chick, And one girl came up and took my hat. We had gone to BB King's in Memphis, and she had bought me a hat, and I was wearing the ball hat, and this girl comes in and she takes the hat off my head and puts it on. I'm like, oh honey, you got like 2 seconds to give that hat back or that girl's gonna kill you. And she turns around, she's, oh shit, she gives it back to me and runs away. And my wife's just like just winding up as she comes.
Why I order,
And So, so back in the day, when playing music was a big deal, girls would like, hey, what are you doing after the gig? Man, you and me can. And now it's like a girl literally, I hate to do that again because that's your thing, but she.
Oh no, it's at this point, brother, it's everybody's thing.
She's like,
it's catching on. It's going viral.
She's actually propositioning me at Gersel's just to get on the stage to dance. She goes, can we get up and dance? And I'm like, no, you can't yet. We're still loading our gear out. She goes, I'll blow you if you let me up on stage. And I said, well, if I let you on stage now, would you owe me a blow? Is that how it works? And she goes, no, we'll go out right now.
Are you fucking serious?
Swear to God, Joe was right there. My friend and I, and then you let us on stage. And I was like, are you serious? And I turned around to Ryan. I said, remember the days when girls used to want to have sex with you because you were a musician? Now they want to have sex with me to get on stage, to get the musician off the stage and outside somewhere, It was the most bizarre thing I had ever seen. And I was like, oh, I'm so disappointed right now. And wondering if she really will. Would she really do this? How far could I take this before I finally say, no, I'm just trying to see if you're that desperate and stupid. And she probably was. I don't know.
It doesn't happen often, but I got nothing.
What are you gonna do?
Well, that's it, kids. That's what I'm gonna do. I got nothing. I can't. No. It's. I feel worse than I did about myself. Thanks.
Well, not about you. Well, there is future.
No, it's the state of the industry.
There is a future, though. There is future. I mean, I went to St. Matthew Street Fest and watched Aiden's band play Foo Fighters and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And there's young kids that they want to continue to go. They want to continue to make music.
That's true. I think I've seen a little bit of a shift in my students, and I can't think of the age group off the top of my head, but there's a group, and when I say group, I mean it could be hundreds of thousands for all I know, but there's a group. We'll call them between 12 and 16 for the sake of this show because I can't remember. They're finally sick of everything that's in front of them. Yeah. And they're finally going back through history because the 25 to probably 19, 18-year-olds, so 18 to 25 demographic that's walking around now, they don't give two fucks about history. They don't give a shit. If it's before 2015, it's old and we don't care. Which drives me out of my fucking mind. But now you're getting younger kids that are going, oh, your shit sucks.
Yes.
I want to go back through history and see what happened before we all got here.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome.
It's about time.
I think it's about time, too.
Cycles. I mean, the other day I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Aiden. He's downstairs playing the piano. And I'm like, what is that? What is he playing? And then I realize he's writing he's got his own version of Everlong.
Nice.
That he's doing on the piano. Nice. Singing it to the top of his lungs. I'm just like, do it, kid. Keep it up.
Absolutely. Keep going.
And there's kids like him that want to keep doing it. And I'm just like, thank God, because that don't let it die.
No.
Oh, man.
No, because music is, entertainment as a whole, actually, to be honest with you, is, and I hate it when I say this because I sound like the quintessential cliche-ish old fuck.
Yep, which I am.
But it's kind of true. Music is in a state of right now. Movies, great as technology, we could do CGI and everything. Please stop making Spider-Man movies, please. Yeah. For the love of fuck, stop. Yeah. Why do we need 170 Spider-Man movies? We get it. Dude is bit by a spider and can do cool shit. Sweet.
Yeah.
Really?
I know.
But if you look, that's what they're doing. They're recycling every movie now.
Yeah, why do we need Jumanji to come back? Why do we?
Because it's got The Rock in it.
I know, but I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. It's some shit. Just leave it the fuck alone.
I mean,
it was a moment in time. It was. I mean, I don't see anybody trying to remake Miles Davis records because you can't.
No, you can't. Yeah, John Coltrane records.
You can't.
You can't.
Fucking stop.
Yeah.
Just leave the shit alone.
Although, I do listen to a guy named Josh Smith a lot. So, being a guitar nerd, there's three guys. There's Tim Pierce, Pete Thorne, Josh Smith. Those three guys. And they were on a show together. And I watched the show. And I'm listening to them talk about gear and playing and this thing. And then Josh Smith does this thing where he's like, I always want to learn new things. I'm always trying to learn new things. And I'm the same way. And he's like, and I'll learn something from you. And he points to Tim and you, Pete. And then he's like, even John Schofield. And he said, like, the other day I heard something where he played an A major 7th and he plays A flat pentatonic over it. And I was thinking, can you do that? So I grabbed the guitar and I'm like, holy shit, that works. Why does that work? Now I'm on this quest to find out why that works.
Right.
And what else am I missing?
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to apply this, but I feel like this is something useful I should have.
Well, absolutely.
And I see a lot of kids, Aiden's age, and especially he's in the marching band at Manual now. And
right.
A lot of those kids are the same way. They're always trying to look for these things that maybe they didn't know, or some new way to do something that, that nobody's tried yet. And I keep telling you, keep writing music, keep writing lyrics, because that was the part that I always. We talked about cover bands. I did some original stuff, but I would take somebody else's song and do something else with it.
Right.
I wrote this song. Oh, let me hear it. Do you like it the way it is? No, I was thinking it needs something. Let's do this, and I'll add to it. But
right.
I never just sat down from beginning to end and wrote my own song.
Right. I've never.
I'm a terrible lyricist.
I'm a decent lyricist. I've contributed a few lyrics, but my biggest thing is I can arrange anything the way that it needs to be arranged. And I mean from minute details, like you really need to shorten that by 2 bars.
Oh,
what?
Okay. Yeah.
Like I get fucking microscopic with it. But I'm really good at that whole thing. Writing melodies and chords and shit, fuck that, somebody else's job. But I'm not wired that way.
Yeah.
I'm wired rhythmically and structurally.
I got you.
I can structure anything. I just, like the Heaven Hill record, there's 3 songs on there that I have writing credits on, but in the rest of the songs were already pretty much written when I got in the band. But I took what they had, and once we were all comfortable with each other, I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're putting all this shit on this chopping block, and I'm going to show you how to chop it up. And we did it together, and they took my ideas, and probably 90% of them, we kept them, and the songs became better. And that's not a brag on myself. It's just, I think it's part of my personality. I like to cut out the fluff. I don't give a fuck about your mom and him. I don't know them. No offense, but I don't know them, and I'm never going to meet them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to ask you how your mom and them are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But I have that same approach in music. It's like, motherfucker, this riff has been going on for 45 seconds, and you haven't uttered a word.
Yeah.
We need to cut this shit down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think that arrangement and that structuring comes from, why I'm good at it.
But it's important to have.
Absolutely. But the rest of that shit, I suck at it.
Without editing, you end up with, what is it, Dances with Wolves? And he... Not that it's a bad movie, but supposedly, allegedly, I don't know if it's true or not, he had 3 hours of wheat blowing. And they're like, you got to cut some of this shit out, man. He goes, but it's so beautiful. I realize that, but a few seconds... he had like 3 hours of like scenes of buffalo and wheat blowing and trees and shit. It's like, this movie's 6 hours long. What are you thinking? Well, nobody's done a 6-hour movie for a reason.
There's a fucking reason, pal.
So he had to do a lot of editing, and I'm sure that was really hard to figure out what to put on the chopping block,
Oh, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. So anyway, thank you for coming over.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. You've been in the Bar Star studio.
I have.
My office, my apartment.
It's amazing.
It is kind of pretty in here.
Yeah.
I like it.
It is nice. I like it.
I like it.
When am I moving in? Maybe after Rudy listens to the podcast.
I was getting ready to say that. I was going to say this will post in a couple weeks, so I'll give you about 3 weeks.
All right. That gives me enough time to find. What is it? I got a letter for jury duty the other day, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of jury duty. Somebody said, "Do your civic duty." I'm like, "Kiss my ass." I'm like, but it was like, "How do I get out of this?" And then I was like, "Hey, can you be on a jury if you've a convicted felon? Because I got a little bit of time." Man, I can go out and commit a felony. He's like, sorry.
I can't do it.
My brother used to say all the time, I'll go to jail. They feed you and everything. And I was like, yeah, but what about the man sex? He goes, I can get used to it. Anybody can get used to anything. All right, well,
Stacey,
what better tell you?
Stacey always says, 3 hots in a cot.
Yeah. They're going to feed me. I get to work out. Might have some terrible sexual things happen to me in the meantime, but hey,
I got nothing.
Yeah, I got it.
I love you, fucker. Thanks for coming over. Thanks for spending time with me. I hope you guys learned something from Tony, and for the love of fuck, I hope you laughed as much as I did.
Catch me on Cover Band Central.
Oh, please, God, the windmill has arrived. It's getting a little windy in here.
Pirate source.
You, sir, are awesome. High five in a microphone. That was a good one. We're out of here. And as I say at the end of every episode, go do some shit. Tony, tell him. Go do some shit.
Go do some shit.
Go do some shit.
Let's go do some shit.
Really, that's it?
That's it.
As witty as you are, you're like, let's go do some shit.
Let's go do some shit. Find some shit to do and go do it. Expeditiously. My good friends.
And when you get done and you visit the Conservatory of Music.
Yes. After the conservatory, make sure you find some exquisite shit to go partake in.
And after you partake in the exquisite shit, you can have a divinity exposure sandwich.
Toasted with cheese. Queso for my Spanish speakers.
So until next time, I will talk at you soon.